There we go. It's crazy because I now got like 2 cameras or.
Yeah, 2 cameras on us. I even got my lights on. I'm trying to hide my lights.
Neighbor's dog.
All right, let's get started. So today is my first YouTube conversation video today, and I'm going to go Instagram live over here.
Let me stop. Let me close this window real quick.
Go ahead. The dog's barking. What's up, everybody on Instagram? Hello. Waving back to everybody. Oops, that's dirty over there. Waving back to everybody. We got some people on Instagram already. Hello, Sedaf. All right. Should we get started?
Yeah,
ready?
Man. Let's go for it. Yep. So we got an hour time on Instagram Live. Just an FYI.
Yeah. We'll just go whatever. If we get canceled, we'll just restart it.
Tight. Let's do it.
All right. So today we have Dr. Darryl from San Diego. He's a new dentist, and he's my first guest on my first YouTube test channel. We're having some conversations. I kind of wanted to do this. Like, I've always loved Joe Rogan. And do you listen to Joe Rogan, Darryl?
Oh, dude, the last one I listened to was the Elon Musk one.
Okay, yeah. So Joe Rogan, I love him because like he just has people on and he just starts asking questions about just things he wants to talk about. It doesn't have to be about dentistry. We can talk about everything from your past, your mindset, what you're doing now, your workouts. I know, you're into fitness. You are a business owner. You have your own startup or acquisition. Right? It's an acquisition. And you're in San Diego. You're a dentist. You're placing implants, all the things I want to do. So I'm here to learn from you.
All right.
So you want to give us like an intro of yourself and let us know what you're all about.
So born and raised San Diego, went to undergrad at UC Irvine. And then after that, I took a year off. So I had a year break and then, which pretty much meant I didn't get in my first round of applications. Mm-hmm. And then went to Indiana for dental school, graduated in 2016, residency at Ohio State, GPR. And then I moved back to San Diego after 2017. And then I worked as an associate for 2 years and then acquired a practice last year, February of 2019. And now it's 2020. Here we are, a year, and I'm still associating at the other offices. I just cut down my hours or my days. And then I'm also part-time at my practice acquisition.
Nice. When did you acquire that other practice, your first practice?
February 2019 is when it closed.
Nice. Man. Did you always want your own practice ever since the beginning?
Yeah, it was weird because you do dentistry. I love the dental aspect of it but then just seeing what your value is, what you can do. And I think it's just more like I can sleep better at night knowing that I can do what I want to do and do it to the standard that I know I can versus, having to work for someone. Mm-hmm. And it's their treatment plan. You got to do it their way, and sometimes you got to bend your ethics a little bit, things you may not disagree. You guys got to, come to a middle ground. But, at the end of the day, I'm able to sleep comfortably at night, knowing that it's doing my patients and I'm taking responsibility for my stuff. So there's no one else to blame but, me.
Okay. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But me and Darryl, we met on Instagram. We've never met in person yet. This is
we haven't?
No, man. We just met on Instagram. You're one of the people that I'm closest to on Instagram.
I remember the first time I think you messaged me was about a stack of books, right?
Oh yeah, I don't know, man. I don't remember.
It was a black and white stack of books. Was that, and then also because you went to dental school in the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
So those ties right there.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You're young. You are into fitness. You're Filipino, and I've studied in the Philippines, so I have a connection with Filipinos. And you recently acquired a practice. I'm really into, you know, the business side of it. You post about business side of it too on
Yeah.
your Instagram. So those things definitely catch my eye. And I always felt like we have the same type of mindset. You know,
Right. Right.
we're always on the go, reading and stuff like that. So, how'd you start on Instagram? Like, what got you into Instagram?
Man, I don't even. Okay, so I had Instagram when I first started dental school, and
Hmm.
I'm like looking back at my posts, and I was like, man, this could have been something if I kept through it. But Instagram is back in 2012, 11 was more for photography, if
Hmm.
anything. Fast forward 4 years, wasn't really active on it. 2017 was, I guess, when things started to blow up with dentistry, posting your cases. This is where I started to learn.
Hmm.
This is where I started to find out where I wanted to go with my dentistry, which CE courses, who was doing what in the dental field, how are things being done. Um, and then from there, I took a photography course
Hmm.
with When the Pictures Really Matter with Dr. Adamo and those guys.
Okay.
So then that started the photography thing, and then started posting on Instagram. So
So you started with like photography in mind, like dentistry photography.
yeah, and I mean, the way Instagram was before back in
Hmm.
2012, 16 was just like, hey, if you're a photographer, it was always nice photos, stuff like that. Um, didn't really think about also like social media was new. So like in dental school, you couldn't really post about patients or your work. You can take them,
Hmm.
you could take the photos for yourself, but you couldn't really share them because of HIPAA violations. So like
Yeah. Yeah.
had all these photos, and I didn't own those photos. The school owned it. So how it
Oh.
worked was I couldn't take the photos. We had a photographer in the school come up, take the photos for you. Then they
Oh.
would email you the photos that you would need, but then they were all encrypted. So it wasn't like,
Damn.
yeah, so it was pretty strict at that, at the school. But no one was really posting casework on Instagram. The prosthodontists at our school had, gorgeous photos for their lectures and stuff.
Hmm.
Always wondered how they did it. But no one was really doing the social media thing, back in 2015. I want to say 16. When it just then, that's when it started to blow up. When
Yeah. You did your Ohio State, I mean GPR at Ohio State. Where'd you do your dental school again?
Indiana, so like stayed
Indiana. Oh
over.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Indiana. Oh yeah. I did a interview at Indiana, so I've been to Indiana University once.
nice,
Checked it out.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
I mean
it's a
it's
big
different. It's
city.
different now. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a
big
really big city, and
city, growing.
yeah, and I think dentistry is pretty good over there. You never thought about staying over there?
I did. So
Hmm.
I did get my license in Indiana
Oh, you
slash
did.
Ohio. Oh yeah, in
Okay.
Ohio when I was like I can make it. I can make it a few years
Hmm.
after. I was
Hmm.
comfortable staying. I was ready to stay because I had friends out
Oh yeah.
there. That's where my professional life was, right? So
Oh.
all my colleagues, close friends were there. And it's like, hey, I mean, I was willing to stay 2, 3 years over there, and then Ohio State, and it was just cold, and I was like, dang. Every time I go
Ah.
home, I'm like, gosh, I gotta move back. And so then one of the decisions, and then this can apply for those who are watching, and what do you call it? Trying to figure out where you want to go after dental school is picking a place where you want to live. That's what
Hmm.
I pretty much based my decision going back, because I knew I wanted to go back
Yeah.
home to San Diego. The only thing that kept me or wanted me to keep me out in the Midwest was how much money I can make, easily 200, 200K,
Yeah.
180. You come to
Yeah.
California, you're probably 6 figures or less.
Yeah, or less.
Um, so like that was a trade-off. But then at the end
Yeah.
of the day, I knew I wanted to start and stay and end up in Southern California, San Diego. So I
Hmm.
was like, let's just make the move now and start early. So
Yeah, I actually considered moving to other different states too. I
mhm.
was looking at Washington, Oregon, Texas. Texas really huge.
Texas is good. Yeah.
Yeah, huge. Even considered Arizona, some parts of Arizona, just the rural areas. Anywhere outside California seems like it's better
I
in
mean,
terms of
yeah.
income. But I had like I thought about this for a long time, and then some of my mentors told me like you know, if you open up somewhere, it's going to be very hard for you to move out, you know, you're
Right.
going to easily stay there 10 years.
Yeah.
So I couldn't see myself after living in the Philippines for so long and then living in Colorado when I went to my ISP
Right.
program. I missed California so much, man. And San Diego is actually the city that I want to live at the most. Like that's where I want to retire.
Right.
So I know I wanted to come to California. I just decided I was like, okay, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna come to California.
I mean, yeah. So you started because, you know, like usually, like even right now, I've
Mm-hmm.
had 2 or 3 people who I went to school with who are 2 years older than me. One of my faculty also in Ohio State, you know, was calling me and being like, "Hey, man, I want to move to San Diego. What is it? What do I got to do to make it out there?" And I'm like, you know, like, and they're dentists too. So like the
Yeah,
trend is people are trying to come out, and then
it's
they've been
always
practicing 4 or 5 years already, private practice, and then they're like, "Hey, man, I want to move out there." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, like it's hard out here, you know, like."
yeah. San Diego is one of the hardest places to do dentistry. That's what I
Yeah.
hear.
I mean, Southern California in general, I feel like,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Competition down in San Diego. I like from this is my guess is like a lot of people over there seem they go to Mexico for dentistry. You know, it's
Hmm.
right over the border.
Yeah,
Even the
yeah, yeah.
people that I'm seeing here are some of my patients. They would do the root canal here, and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna go do the crown over in
Yeah.
Mexico. Like,
Yeah. Speaking of that, like I've had a few patients last week, you know, since the borders closed to Mexico to get their dentistry, they're coming to us. And then, you
mm,
know, it's like, yeah, we're seeing you now. We're just here because, you know, we can't go across the border easily and all that. So like,
hmm
it's interesting now that they're, you know, I mean, I think they're still willing to go back to Mexico, but
yeah,
it's just now they're showing up more because they closed the borders and
yeah. It's harder to go there.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I know you acquired your practice. How did that come about, and how did you find that practice? And give us some details on how that's going.
Yeah. So let's see. Uh, Associateship, you know, after a few months, you know, 6 months, I'd say 6 to 8 months of working in associateship, you pretty much get your speed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like before, like let's just say like the first month, I was stressing out, like, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do in my 2 days? So I was preparing for those cases.
Mm-hmm.
6 months, 7 months, you get to the point where you're comfortable, you show up to work, you can do everything proficiently, you know,
Yeah,
within reason.
yeah.
Um,
Let's talk about that a little bit, because
yeah, 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 yeah,
I'm new, and so that's how I felt. I'm probably like 2 months in, and the
yeah.
first month, man, first week, I think I was just shitting bricks.
Yeah, no, no,
I'm
no,
like,
and then that's perfectly normal. Like that's what I did.
yeah,
Like it's because getting out into private practice world, you know, dentistry out is different than when I did residency, but I still had to prepare.
oh yeah,
So a week out, I was like, yeah, cases. I was stressing. I was like, okay, I'm going through my notes. Then after a while, it becomes natural repetition. You know,
yeah, yeah,
you keep doing it. Around the 6 month mark, you're like, you know what, I'm comfortable. You can go into work not worrying about, you know, what you need to see during. Like you don't need to look ahead to schedule
yeah,
to do your
yeah.
dentistry. And then after that, I've been there for a year and a half, and you realize, you know what, I can do the dentistry. You know, you
Mm,
can do your work. So then it became the point now of like, all right, what are the other doctors doing versus like, you know, the treatment protocols. Now you can like, you're when I was working the first 6 months, I was just doing whatever they told me to do because you're like,
mm-hmm.
I need to get my skills. And then there's a shift where you're like, you know what, you start questioning treatment, you start questioning the work, you start questioning how things are done. And then now you go back to, okay, how do I practice dentistry versus how they do it? You
Mm-hmm.
know, what's my value, you know, for them, and how, you know, then you start perceiving your own value. And then there was a certain point for me where it was like, hey, you know what, as a business owner, now I understand when you're an associate working, right, you are pretty much, you're doing what you're told to do. Um, so I was doing all the work. I was getting paid hourly,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what my production was.
Mm-hmm.
So the standard, you know, I don't know how it works in your current situation, but like usually
Mm-hmm.
it's 6 months base salary.
Yeah,
After that, you
like
get
a
paid on
minimum.
production. Yeah. then you can get paid off production. I have never experienced the production part. It's like, because now there are days where they can give me $10,000 of production. I don't get a cut of that. I just get a base $600 day. That's pretty much what it is here. And then you start questioning, like, hey, I'm doing all this good work, and then it's like, where's my value going into? Like, I want a little bit more. So there's different models to that, and I understand. But at a certain point, if you're doing good dentistry, good work, you feel like you should be rewarded. But yeah, so then that started me to looking at, like, okay, what's out there? What can I do? How can I get, I want to feel like my value is being, worth. So fast forward November 2018. November 2018, my buddy sends me a listing from Henry Schein. It's a small 3-op practice, starter, hygiene, mainly hygiene, within the budget. If I took a loss, it wasn't a big hit. It wasn't $1 million practice. It wasn't even worth a $500,000 practice. So it was on the lower end. About 180 was my loan, 180 grand. So it wasn't a lot. Solo doc, all that. And I was like, hey, you know what? Like, it's a good starting point in San Diego, small, fee for service.
It's fee for service. It was straight fee for service there. No PPO.
Yeah, it was a little weird situation. He didn't take any insurance, but he billed insurances, and then I guess he collected copays. I don't think he did. So there was a lot of, it was a lot of that going on, and trying to fix the financial policies and all that. So and then now I'm here. I'm like, things are turning around. The patients are now saying, like, hey, I was expecting the day when I had to start paying for my dental care. So yeah, that's good. It's good and bad. Some patients left because they were used to not paying for crowns, fillings, and all that.
I see.
So yeah.
So curious, if you were to go back and look at this practice again, would you buy it again? Tough question.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna just say this. When I was looking for a practice, like, I dealt with a broker, right? So when there's a broker involved, there's a fee. There's a higher fee because then now they get a cut.
Yeah,
the original
huge
asking
cut.
price. Yeah, there's an original asking price was $220. I got it down to $180. I was trying to go for $170. But the broker kept saying no, like $175, $180. Like, kept going back and forth. And then I was like, you know what? All right, I'm not gonna argue over $5,000.
Yeah.
All right. So there's that. Could I have gotten the practice for a lot less? Sure. Now, would I have bought this practice in hindsight? It's hard to say because it's a good starter for me.
How about this question? How would you do it differently? Would you still go for like a 3-op office, or would you go for a bigger office, or there's different philosophies.
Right. Okay. So actually, I'm okay with, like, I was happy I got this practice because it was underneath my 200. Like, there was a certain limit I had. I was going to go for 200 K or less because it's pretty much a shell. I was paying for the phone number and for the patients. Everything else pretty much, and then the supplies. So, like, it was just pretty much a startup for.
Yeah. So you were looking to do almost like a pseudo startup.
Like a pseudo startup. I also had instant cash flow, so it wasn't like a kind of thing. Now the hard part was, he was out of network. There was a lot of older patients who are used to his style. So new guy coming in, you got to start paying for dental work. That didn't really work well with some patients. So I had that criteria. The other criteria I had was a practice that was around 800 or more. So
800 patients or
800K. That was the range that I had. I didn't look for the 300 to 600 range because I felt like those practices, in my experience, was a 3 or 4-op practice. They were all probably already maximized. So that you not sure if there's any room for growth. kind of thing. Now, if you're an 800 to a million, I mean, at that point, the money, like, then it becomes a situation of, can you just reproduce, and then you're just buying the practice because now you're taking home 200K a year or whatever. So that's the comfortable part versus the lower end, which is like, hey, I'm willing to do a pseudo startup and work to get my patients and then kind of grow it, you know? And then those bigger practices too, 800, like I would have probably looked for a 7-op practice, maybe even more, just, you know, 2 hygiene practice type deal.
So if you were to look again, is that what you're saying? You'll find like a 7-up practice?
I would probably buy a $1 million practice.
Oh yeah.
Trying to go, 7-op, 2 hygiene, have an associate kind of deal. Yeah. Pretty much. That's what I would probably.
And what stopped you from getting those practices?
So that was because so I kind of went in this a little too fast. If you wanted an 800 to $1 million practice, you had to at least have 10%, 20% down cash ready
in the bank.
Yeah. Considering you live in California and San Diego and what, you know, your rates are, it was a lot harder to save for that. So then I opted for the lower end of like, hey, you know, I can grow this thing, you know, start somewhere. So that's what I did. It probably would have taken me another year or 2 to get that cash flow or save up that money to try and get that practice, $1 million practice. But it's a lot harder.
Damn, you're breaking up on my Zoom. 1 second. No, you froze on my Zoom. Give me 1 second, all right?
Especially if you're younger.
Oh, there we go.
You know, fresh
right,
5 foot. Yeah. So, and it's a lot harder in San Diego too, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, those are things that they look at in terms of what you're going to buy practice and all that. And I mean, I've been to a few dental society meetings out here, and I feel like I'm on the really, really like younger side. Like,
oh yeah.
Like
how old are you?
30. 31. Wait, 31.
You just turned 31?
Yeah, I just turned 30. I just had to think about that for a second.
I know what you mean, man. Stop counting.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I'm like on the younger end of side. Like when I go to the new dentist meetings, these guys are like 36, 37. I'm like, wait, that's considered young? Like, man, I'm a baby then in this field, you know, like.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. You started early, man. That's a good thing. And I always recommend people get started early, but everyone has their own different values and what they want to do in life, I guess. So you can't really say that. But so I'm always curious about how your startup's going. So can you tell me, like, what was the most difficult thing? Like, what's your leadership style like? How was that transition?
It was okay. So the owner, Doc, and then the front office was his wife running it, and then had an assistant. So they all left. So I ended up, luckily, I've had a few staff, you know, that I picked up that I've worked with that, you know, came over. And one I had to let go last year in, I want to say September, maybe around that, September, October. And then I still have my assistant, and then I'm running that assistant, and then I have a new one. So there's 2 staff with me right now. The leadership is, I mean, it's pretty small, you know. So I still like my assistant or my staff is younger than me, probably like 24, 25. So it's kind of easier that way to be like, hey, like we need to do this kind of thing. Like it's easier to manage. With that respects, but you know, like the difficult part is I'm 31. They're like 25, 24, like the age gap. Yeah. You know, like, so sometimes they forget like, oh, he's a doctor. So like, you know, the conversation's a little bit different.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like there's not like, I feel like the respect is there, but not there at the same time. Yeah. And then they're talking to you like, hey, we're homies or friends. And I'm like, no, like, let's, you know, like, let's be professional about this kind of thing, you know? And, so that's the hard part.
I totally agree with
But
you on that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then you're just like, what? And even in my other associate offices, like there's a different vibe of like a younger doc versus the older doc, and
Mm-hmm.
there's things that they say that can get away with, and I'm like, okay, well, like, it's like this is like friends,
Yeah. Yeah.
working with friends, which is cool, yeah, but also gotta remember where like you're in a professional setting, and you
Yeah.
know, yeah, man. So I mean, other than that, like the office, like it's been a really, really long year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's struggles for sure,
Oh
especially
yeah.
the struggling, and the hard part is like I'm not in network with insurance.
Mm-hmm.
These patients have they're just not used to paying for their treatment. So when I talk to them like, hey, it's gonna be this amount, they're like, what?
Can you
And then
explain? Can you explain what do you mean by they're not used to paying for insurance? Are you talking about HMO or?
no. So they have insurance. So like they got
Mm-hmm.
like Delta Dental, or they got,
Uh-huh.
they have PPO.
Uh-huh.
So when you're out of
Oh.
network, they don't pay for their copay. So like like let's say a crown is $1,000.
Uh-huh.
Insurance only pays 80%,
Uh-huh.
70%, right? Hey,
Yeah.
you got to pay the other $400, $300. They're like, what? I've never paid a crown in my life in the past 30 years with this
Mm-hmm.
doctor. I'm
Oh,
like,
I
well,
see.
so kind of like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So things like that conversation. Others knew that they're gonna have to pay sooner or later, because they were aware that
Mm-hmm.
they weren't in network, or
Mm-hmm.
the doctor wasn't in network but just collecting their
Oh.
network fees. Um,
How come you don't go in network? You just don't want to? Or
yeah, I mean credentialing, and then like uh, honestly, like I've the style of dentistry that I want to do doesn't
uh-huh.
fit
I see.
taking an insurance.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that's like, hey, you're gonna pay me or for the full value, and I will give you my best work, and if it,
I see.
like,
Okay.
and the time and all that. Now that being said, I was only credentialed with Delta Dental at my other offices, but
Mm-hmm.
now they've pulled me out of it because they're not taking it. So I've
Oh.
been lucky and used to, hey, if you come into my office and you're like, I want this filling done,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you pay on the spot, you're
Uh-huh.
going to get it done that day,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, hey, you paid for the service, let's get it done. So um, versus, oh, you know what, Andrew, we did your cleaning, got a filling, well, I'm going to schedule you next week or in 2 weeks for you to come back, and because then now my schedule is backed up with these other patients that have scheduled, kind of thing. So
I see.
it's just a
So
different style of practice.
so you're going more for the fee for service model, like
Yeah.
higher end kind of.
Well, not really higher end. It's just like, it's not necessarily higher end. It's more of
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to do my good work and then
Mm-hmm.
back it up. And then, be there pretty much. So like ease of access to me. And then like, if you want something done, it's going to get done that week, or you don't have to wait a month, 2 months to do a filling, kind of thing, or put you on the back burner because I have other patients coming in. Now, with that being said, the patient pool is a lot slower or low, so I don't have a lot of new patients coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it is word of mouth, or
Oh.
trying to do the marketing, versus if you're in network, people will pick you based off, oh, this doctor's in network and lives near me, I'm just going to go to him.
Yeah.
So
So what kind of marketing are you doing for patients like that? How do you target patients like that
so
other than
right
word of mouth?
now so right now yeah so right now it's word of mouth, and then I do the care to share cards, or pretty much give them referral cards. A lot of the patients, they're pretty receptive to it. They're like, yeah, I like you, like, thank you. Like, they want to support. And it's because it's also a small business. And then
Mm-hmm.
from the previous owner, they have had like ties to that office. So it's a lot of word of mouth, Instagram. I've had a few off Instagram, social
Mm.
media,
Wow.
but not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly word of mouth, Google, website up and all that. But it's, like I said, it's tough. They don't come by easily. And then when they
Mm-hmm.
do come, and it's like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
let's put our best foot forward and like, let's make them want to choose us kind of thing. Like, you know, so I don't have that luxury of having, you know, patients being thrown at me because I'm in network. People have to come and they have to choose, you know, to choose your dental office. So it's a lot harder, you know, and then it all goes down to patient presentation, like when they first walk in, the phone call, to how you do your treatment, your cleanings, to the follow-up care, to how you talk to them and all that stuff. So yeah, that's all the marketing right there. And then of course, obviously, if you have money, like I don't have a lot of money to throw at marketing. So if you have a lot of cash, a lot of
cash flow,
budget, then you could throw in money for marketing and get those patients in. So that's the hard part.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know you had that kind of model over there.
Yeah,
interesting. I see. Have you heard of the Fee for Service podcast? Do you listen to that?
No, is that the one? Yeah, I don't.
There's one. It's called. No. Fee for Service. Gary Takis. No. That one's I forgot the name of his podcast, but Fee for Service podcast is just for dentists that do fee for service stuff. So I think it might be beneficial for you. I listen to him sometimes to get like a different perspective. Yeah. Do you have a membership plan at your place?
Right now, so during this whole COVID thing, I was getting ready to implement one for those who don't have insurance. So there is one in place. But it's not like an official one. It's just like, hey, if you don't have insurance. So in my office, I have my set of fees, right? If you have insurance, those regular fees will be applied.
Yep.
If you say, hey, I don't have insurance, I'm a cash patient. Okay. So then now I go off a reduced set of fees, which is probably like 85% to 90% off of my original
GCR fee.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so that's what I have. And then then I had one set up where it's like, hey, like depending on if you have like periodontal or whatever, you know, like let's say periodontal, it's like $700, I think, for a year. You get your, you know, deep cleaning, and you got to come in for your maintenance recalls. You get your necessary x-rays for the whole year. And that's what you get for the year. Then you pay again. And then you also get reduced fees to go along with that plan. But other than that, not really. Patients, like
it's hard to sell that, honestly, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think patients really care for a payment. They just care like, hey, can I afford the treatment that you're recommending me?
Yeah.
So it's just like, hey, what can I do to get the treatment? How can I pay for it? And then we tell them, like, this is what you can do. So in my office, we do care credit. And then I've been really trusting with my patients. So, and this is probably not recommended for advice. It's like I do in
payment plans.
So, so like, hey, you come in for your next visit, you're going to pay this amount. So then they'll come in with a check or whatever cash. And then I'll like, okay, I'll trust you with that. So there's that, you know, some people are like, hey, don't do that, because what if they, you know, disappear on you? I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's a risk, you know, and then you just got to gauge the patient, you know. Usually they're pretty nice. I haven't had anyone burn me on that.
It's case by case basis kind of thing.
Case by case. Yeah.
I see.
And then usually when we do the payment plans, we do collect their bank account information. So it goes directly into their checking or something. So it's not like they can give us a credit card, close that credit card and cancel. Now they could close their bank account, sure. But then I don't know how. That hasn't happened to us yet.
Yeah, I just recently, we just recently implemented our membership. We have 0 members right now, but I just made it, and it's like on my website. We have made a pamphlet off Canva. My goal is to get like 5 people in every month, starting now. So we'll see how it goes. But it's if you want to see my pamphlet, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's like the membership thing is like, it's really, I haven't heard too much success or people who have done it and had success. It's just one of those things where it's like, hey, your cleaning's $120. All right. Like most of them pay for their cleanings. you
Mm-hmm.
know, and then I'll pay again next time. Yeah, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
and then I mean, yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, my thought is basically membership plan is I try to give them as much free things as possible, even if it's little, we're not making as much, because once you have that membership plan, it's kind of like a loyalty. It's like a, Costco card. You
Yeah,
pay a little bit off up front, and they won't go anywhere else. Like if they need you, you're going to be their dentist no matter what.
right.
And so it's like a, you're fighting the insurance companies, because
Yeah,
insurance companies are basically marketing scheme. I think, like they're just
right.
basically bringing you patients, you paying for those patients,
Yeah, and
and that's how it
that's pretty
goes.
much what it is. And then like going back to the insurance thing, I mean, insurance is not bad. Okay,
Hmm.
right? Let me get that out there.
Yeah.
The reason why my experience with insurance,
Hmm.
the people who are really into insurance is they'll price shop. They're like, hey, or they like, my insurance only does X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
I only want to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, look, listen, like, so how I do it is like I treatment plan comprehensively
Hmm. Hmm.
to get, patient comes in with a cheek complaint, you come to me, I'm the doctor, okay, what needs to happen to get to what you want is step A, B, C, D, E, and F,
Hmm.
or whatever. And they're
Hmm.
like, hey, you know what? I only want to do C or D. I'm like, well, that's a little bit hard because then now you're compromising A, B, C, like they're jumping around steps. So like,
Hmm.
I don't necessarily give the patients like, it's like, hey, this is what needs to be done or what
Hmm.
has to happen in order for you to get to your results. Um, and then I try not to let them pick and choose based off their insurance or anything.
Hmm.
It's just like, this is what it's going to be, you know, to get the whole thing done, what you want. So that's like,
Hmm.
that's how I package it or treatment plan for them. And a lot of them are pretty okay with that because, then and they know all their problems will be situated and
Hmm.
their end result, what they want, will be addressed. So yeah, that's just one of the reasons why I don't take insurance is because a lot of them just like to piggyback and be like, only do what insurance does, or can you just bill my insurance kind of thing, and I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, no, like it's a lot. There's a lot more to it than just picking
Yeah.
and choosing the treatment that you want. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Let's change it up a little bit. Tell me, like, when did you want to be a dentist? When did you start want to being a dentist?
Oh man, so I want to say 2000 when I was college, 2007. So 2008.
Okay.
It was end of freshman year college,
Okay.
and I had a family friend who now is one of my really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
She's a practicing dentist. She ran a dental, and her mom's a dentist too. So she ran a dental club at UC Irvine,
Mm.
and then she was looking for. She had a trip, and she needed to fill in a few spaces. She found out. So my mom is her mom's accountant or whatever. Found out that I wasn't in dentistry or wasn't. I was going to the UC Irvine, and my major was bio. So hey, medicine, whatever, let's ask him. Went on this trip, didn't know what I was doing. So they had medical and they had dental. So like
Mm.
you go back and forth. And at that point, I was like, I think I can do this. So being experienced in dentistry
Mm-hmm.
like that. And I think
Okay.
that was my first experience with dentistry. So I didn't shadow at home before knowing what to do. Like I just went on some random trip, you know.
It was like a
Um,
mission trip, or?
yeah, it was a mission trip pretty much. So what they do, so they had they had a whole operation. They had medical, they had water, they had architecture,
Oh.
um, they had dental. So like it was like a built like a community, and they would
Mm-hmm.
help these little provinces, when we went to Honduras. So that was my first one. Um, and so they just provide dental care, what needed to be done. And yeah, and from there, like I loved it. I was like, I like
Mm-hmm.
this, I can do this, and then pretty much geared my trajectory towards dentistry
Mm-hmm.
after that. So yeah.
What do you want to do before dentistry? Or was
Oh,
it
I was in medicine.
Oh, you
I
were in
was thinking
medicine.
about going to medical.
Mm-hmm.
Cardiology was what I
Mm.
wanted to. Yeah, cardiologist pretty much. So
Mm-hmm.
was what my goal was, and then I realized because I wanted to be. It was gonna be surgery. I wanted to be a heart surgeon, like a CT surgeon,
Mm-hmm.
thoracic surgeon. And then it's like, hey, I can do dentistry work with my hands. This is cool. So then, yeah, I just went that way. Super random, but yeah.
Yeah. I have a lot of I'm sure you do too, pre-dental followers.
Mhm.
Like I would love to hear what your tips are for like pre-dental and then dental students and new dentists, like, associate. And yeah, let's go from there.
So let's do
Pre-dental first.
pre-dental. So people who are in college right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, enjoy. So study hard. I would say um, enjoy college too, but
Mm-hmm.
know what you're doing. So like trying to get into dental school, like college was fun, but you also had your priorities. So you had to make sure you get those straight. So yeah, I partied a lot in college,
Mm-hmm.
but also like before I went out, man, we
Mm-hmm.
were studying.
Okay.
I was taking the DATs, I was taking PAT like practice tests. Like you were studying for a good like full day, and then
Uh-huh.
you had to deserve like
Wow.
we had like we would feel like we had to go out, like deserve to
Uh-huh.
go out,
Wow.
even
Okay.
if it's for a little bit. But that I mean, enjoy the college experience.
Play
But
responsibly,
yeah,
basically.
study hard pretty much because everyone
Yeah.
now like everyone was smart. Like everyone's as it is
Yeah.
competitive now, it's as competitive as it was before. Like so
Mm-hmm.
like don't think you just got to study hard for that. Um, and then the
Quick question.
hardest part. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Um, do you think college undergrad was harder than dental school, or dental school was harder than undergrad?
Oh, okay. So dental school was hard for me. Oh,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
no, what dental school wasn't okay. So let me. Okay, so I had so UC Irvine. Going to college, you jump through hoops, right? You take your bio, you take your majors, you take all your prerequisites. Sad to say, but like, hey, you're just memorizing. Like, what do I need to know for this test? How do I do these things, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
didn't really teach me how to study per se. Slash, like, I
Mm-hmm.
just knew what I had. You knew what you had to do to get into dental school, which
Mm-hmm.
is what I did. I studied the test. You pretty much memorize everything. You got to get good at the PAT. Like, you jumping through hoops.
Yeah.
In dental school, man, what I did in college, trying to memorize your way through it, nope. You couldn't
Uh,
do that. So dental school was a whole different ballgame for me. So the first
uh,
6 months was adjusting how to study, you know,
uh,
understanding why things are. And then, it's more of application. So now you got to
mm,
think. And then now you're like, all right. And then the workload is like, damn,
yeah.
workload was
The
twice, three. I
workload.
have I have all my planners still from dental school because I'm amazed. I'm like looking at that. I'm like, so like I'll tell you for example, like then this was average, probably up until junior year, till the beginning of maybe or end mid senior year when like we were done with boards. It was like you wake up at 7, get to class by 8, and then from 8 to 5, you got your lectures 8 to 4. So it's nonstop. Go to the gym 7, you got to eat dinner, and then I
Yeah.
was there 8 to 1 pretty much every day. 8 to 1,
Study.
man. Study. We would go out Friday nights and Saturdays, but we would know like, all right, we're done by 5, 6. Maybe take the day off Friday night, and then take the day off Saturday night. So as a class, we all knew we would only take 2 nights off. So then we would
Mm,
study Saturday from 8 to 4, 8 to 3, whatever. Take Saturday night off. Sunday, forget about it. You're studying all day because you got exams. And then intense part two with my dental school, the way it was set up was we had exams every 2 weeks.
mm,
So we called them bi-weeklies, which
mm-hmm,
then transitioned to tri-weekly,
mm-hmm,
which transitioned to monthlies. So
mm,
the idea with that was to get you ready for board exams because
yeah.
what board exams was block was 8 hours testing. So when we had those tests, we would sit in a room they gave us 2 hours, 3 hours. You know, some exams were like the morning, and they sit there, they give you 150 questions, 200 questions, and it was all subjects. It wasn't like, hey, we have anatomy. Okay, well, forget anatomy. Anatomy was its own class because it was in the summer, but let's say we had pathology, you had dental materials, you had a bunch of other stuff crammed into one test. And you're just like,
damn.
All right, like, you know, and then that's how we took our tests, because they weren't gonna utilize their class time for testing. It was like all the professors gave their questions to the testing committee. The testing committee made a test.
Oh.
And then, all right, everyone, like Wednesday morning was a scheduled block for the testing, and then you go back to your classes after that. So that was a pretty good way. I liked it. But it was all over the place. Like, you had to know, hey, if you were strong in dental materials, don't study that. Go study something else that you know you might fail.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
You kind of had to, like, yeah. So that was new to me. I was like, I couldn't, like, I mean, I tried to give 100% to every subject, but if you knew what you knew already, it's like, why do you need to study it? Go study something else.
Yeah.
Because then that grade for that portion doesn't affect the portion for the other material. So, like, even though they put the test in one, each section was for its own class. So you can get an A, in the test, but if you failed one section, that means you got an F for that test for that class, whatever. So, like, you had to, like, know how to manage your time properly and know what to study, and all that. So that was intense. So, but going back to the original question, college was fun. Getting into dental school was by far the hardest thing. Second hardest thing. Then going through dental school, you know, I mean, you go through it, you do it, you know, it's like hazing, you know, you just got to do it. And then, but it was fun. I think dental school was the best 4 years of my life.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it came out to my class. Shout out to my class, like, those kids, like we were all close, tight knit. So
because you guys are all suffering together.
Yeah, and that was the idea, right? And our class was only 104 plus students, so, like, we all knew people in our class.
Yeah.
And then when it came to board exams, probably the most stressful time of my life. And then now we're here, and it's a different ball game of stress.
New challenges.
Yeah, man. I mean, I miss it. If I could do dental school, I'd probably do it all over again, because it was fun.
Oh yeah. Damn. You must have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun. And you miss it, you know, like, you're like, man, that's the simpler days.
That's true.
Yeah.
Dr. Sean Sonyoto says, I'm getting triggered hearing about dental school schedule.
Yeah, those are fun times, man. I mean, I got my planner, dude. I'm just amazed. I'm just like,
Yeah. I asked the question because in undergrad, man, I didn't study at all. I didn't do shit. So my grades were, I'm like one of the kids that had really just never gone to class. Yeah. And so undergrad was really hard for me, super hard. Like I was bio major and it was nuts. And dental school, it was hard. Like the workload is a lot. They put a lot on you, but I enjoyed it more because
you wanted to study it.
Yeah, I wanted to study. I think that's probably it. And also I hated like the cell bio and like, you know, I like the application part, you know, like I can understand it. Like perio, I enjoyed it because I can kind of vision it and, you know, kind of, you know, it's relatable. Yeah. But cell bio and all that like micro stuff, I'm like, oh my God, I hate memorization. And I suck at memorization. That's probably why too, because I didn't do well. Yeah. Like I can't memorize things unless I totally understand it. It makes sense to me. Yeah.
I mean, and I think it goes back to like, you know, like you said, when you're in college, you don't want to just like, I got to do it to do it. Dude, I was sleeping. Like, it's funny too. Like all my friends right now, they're like, I went to school with this dude, me, and I would fall asleep every time. And like, this dude got into dental school, and I'm like, he's sleeping every class. I'm like, man, like that's how they remember me, you know? But then I mean, it's what I had a 3.3 GPA at UC Irvine. I took a year off. I had to work and get my I took anatomy, raised some grades up, then I had to apply again.
Mm-hmm.
Plan B was an option at that time. Like I didn't have a plan B, so I was
Yeah.
like, I had to get into dental school.
Yep.
Um,
That's when you perform the best, when your back's against
yeah,
the wall.
yeah. So that's why it's like, and then
Yeah.
like I was amazed. Like I was scared when I got into dental school because I was like, this kid, 3.3 GPA. There's kids in here 4.0. I made it out top. I was number 33, I think, in the class out of 104.
Wow.
So like, I wasn't expecting like
You
to
did
be
well.
up. Yeah, I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
to be up that high.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, like I was like it was just amazing. Like, I mean, once I got in there, I knew I had to study hard. Like
Yeah.
that was like
That's
you
what
couldn't
that's what I
stick around.
always want to tell people, that I tell people, like, anybody can go to dental school. I think, like, I used to think there's just always smart people and then there's stupid people, but I think it's just hard work, man. It's just like,
No, and it is like I've
you have to
seen
want
like
it.
like the people in my class, the gunners and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and this is like I don't know, this is a general thing, but like there's kids in our class that are naturally smart and gifted,
Mm-hmm.
right? All day,
Yeah.
and then they ended up if I was them, I was like, damn, I would have been like an oral surgeon, or like, I mean, granted, I want to be an oral surgeon too, but I just
Mm-hmm.
didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to take the test, so that was probably lazy of me. I should have done it, but that's
Mm-hmm.
hindsight. Um, the kids who were naturally smart, like they were fine
Mm-hmm.
with whatever. It was the kids in my class that like had to fight to get into dental school, had to
Mm-hmm.
fight for everything, and they
Mm-hmm.
came out on top.
Yeah.
And these
Yeah.
kids, they ended up becoming oral surgeons,
Yeah.
periodontists and stuff. And I was like, damn, these kids just worked hard. Like it was just
Mm-hmm.
all hustle. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd say study hard for those kids in dental school, enjoy it. It is by far my best 4 years. And then
Mm-hmm.
after that,
Yeah. Give me something about GPR and AGD. Do you recommend it? What did you do in GPR? How did you choose your GPR program?
yeah. So GPR was referred to me because I had some faculty that went to Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
So they recommended it very strongly, had a strong surgery program. And that's what I wanted to do, hospital-based. So, and then the one big thing I liked was the sedation. So the sedation part was what I liked.
That's cool. Yeah.
Heavy on surgery. I didn't know I was gonna like surgery that much.
Mm-hmm.
That much. So I was like, hey, I want to do it because I wanted to get into oral surgery. And then I just couldn't keep up with studying all that. And I guess you can just say I just didn't want it hard enough, bad enough,
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, so I'll do GPR, see what I can do. And yeah, that's that.
Did you do 1 year? It was 1 year?
Yeah, just 1 year GPR.
Okay. What kind of procedures did you do? Did you place a lot of implants in there, or?
No, not so much. It was a lot of full mouth. It was a lot of clearance for cancer patients.
Oh,
So
okay.
patients were getting like therapy, and
Mm-hmm.
then getting blasted with X-rays.
Yeah.
We would have had to take their teeth out because,
Okay.
and if we didn't take their teeth out prior, then then we'd have all sorts of complications and stuff like that. Hospital dentistry, working with special needs kids, so a lot of sedations, going to the OR room and all that.
Do you do a lot of? Do you do sedation now?
I do sedation now, but it's not as let's just say when the doctors I work with, it got a little bit lazy in terms of just I'll just give you 0.75 milligrams of triazolam.
Mm-hmm.
Get the procedure done in 2 hours. If it's not, then you don't do it. Like I'm more inclined to do IV sedation, but they would rather not have me do it. So I'm like, all right, well.
Who do you mean by they?
The owner docs, yeah,
Okay.
the owner docs, yeah. They're also not set up for it, so like, they're saying like, if you want to do it, you got to come out of your own pocket. I was like, damn. So, but then, I'm working on that at my office. So I just got to get a few more things. I'm set up for sedation in my office. I just haven't done it. Not a lot of patients really, they think about it and I think I can handle it without. So it works for me. But yeah.
Would you do GPR over again if you,
I would too.
You like the experience?
I like the experience. I mean, it all comes down to experience. So you gotta make the best of it.
Yeah,
and then
for sure.
Hope that people in your class are cool too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't start anything, don't start any drama or any of that, because it's just gonna make the whole year or your
Anyway.
4 year. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, you don't want that. Stay away from. Well, I mean, my class is pretty good. We've had a bunch of people from our class get together and end up marrying each other. So
Oh yeah.
that was pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah. Um,
Huh. Um.
yep.
So what, there's always like dental students, there's always, should I do a GPR, should I do a specialty? Do you have any other thoughts on that?
Okay, so so in the current condition right now, if I this is interesting, because if I was a
Yeah.
senior right now, oh well, like I was, because you just graduated, right?
Yeah.
But you graduated early.
Mm-hmm.
If I missed the last 6 months of my clinic, I'd probably be more inclined to do GPR just to get the
Yeah.
experience. But
I agree.
honestly, it's what you want. I think the GPR, if you choose to do GPR/AEG, and I've had this conversation before, it's, then you got to look at your dental school. Did your dental school really prepare you
Mm.
to go out? So that's where the conversation goes. And then on top of that, you also have to understand that dental school makes you minimally competent in general dentistry. So bare basics, bare minimum. So
Yeah.
go about, like, there's some kids I know that were like aggressive and try to do as much as they can, learn as much as they can in clinics. So they
Mm-hmm.
were doing everything. So when they came
Mm-hmm.
out, they didn't have to go to GPR, AEGD. For those who are like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with my skills, I'm gonna do another year. Sure. I mean, why not? I think there's so much. I think it's good. What? I'm 31 right now. I expect myself to be in this field for another 30 years. So I got another 30 years of dentistry. We're still young. So
Mm-hmm.
take that year off. Take that year to do
Yeah.
GPR, AGD. Like, the money will still be there. Sure,
Yeah.
you're a year behind or whatever you think you're a year behind in what you want to do. But if you need to do it to figure out what you want to do, then go for it. Like, don't
Yeah.
let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's okay. We'll restart this one real quick. Let me post this real quick. Oh man, they make it so complicated now. Oh.
Save it. You gotta save it.
They they won't let you save it if you're doing it with another person. If you do your own Instagram live, you can save it, right? Like into your
Yeah.
own phone. But I'm
I
recording,
actually
so.
gotta ask Nate, because Nate figured it out how he did it.
Oh,
Because I think you have to hit a certain number of viewers or followers, and then it'll give it to you. But you have a lot more followers than him, so I think it may be the view. Like
interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him. Let me start it back up. I'm gonna come on in here, and then I'll add you. Someone was asking.
I'm gonna ask him. Let me start it back up. Actually, let me turn you down real quick. Someone was asking.
Oh, they were asking. They were asking, like, oh, do you need certification for oral sedation versus IV sedation?
Are we live? Not yet. I'll answer that when we.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me go live with you. And we're back. All right, here we go. Put on my pretty filter.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
So what was the question that you?
So yeah, Danny, she's one of my classmates from Colorado. She asked, do you need certification for oral sedation?
So this is, and don't quote me on this, but I think you do not.
Mm.
Okay, but you do need to take the. So I'm a little confused on that one too, because
Mm-hmm.
I know for certification for generals, like my IV moderate sedation or IV sedation, you do have to have it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
I
for sure.
know some doctors, they I they just do I think it's just hours that you have to do, take a class, and then you get
CE.
yeah, and then you can, because it's for the oral sedation. So okay, so when you're doing sedation,
Mm-hmm.
if you give 0.75 milligrams, right, of triazolam,
Aslam. Mm-hmm.
and that's it, then you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
The problem begins when you give nitrous with that. Now you're mixing it. So now you're talking about moderate contrast sedation there. Now that's when, like, okay, if you're mixing drugs, how are you going to manage that? But if I remember correctly, if you're only giving the one drug, I think you'll be okay. But I would still try to get the certification.
Yeah.
Because I had a colleague, she's out in Indiana, and she had that same question too, because she was like, she says she can do just the triazolam, but she ran into the problem of, oh, but I was also running nitrous. So like, then that's when if you start mixing things, then there's an issue there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would do the CE. I know the most popular one I know is DOCS. DOCS.
DOCS. DOCS.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a oral contrast sedation. I forget what the D stands for, but they do courses. And I think you do also get your IV. I think you also get certified for IV if you want, but not sure. But you do. So even when I came back, though, I was doing sedation. I didn't get a test. I was on probation. And then after 2 years of doing sedation, then you had to get tested for it. Oh. So they give you 2 years to practice sedation. And then, hey, we're going to test you in your facility and how you manage it. Then now I'm okay for 5 years. So I won't get tested again for 5 years.
Huh.
Yeah.
How about implants? How'd you get started on implants?
Implants, I did an implant pathway.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was, I had a buddy, so pro tip, if you guys have a bunch of friends, classmates that want to do a CE course together, the best way to do it is have a bunch of you guys do it. You guys will probably get a group discount or, a group rate. And that's what we ended up doing. So there was 4 of us and we just took the course together. So it came out a lot cheaper. It was either that implant pathway or the Maxi course.
Maxi course. That's a lot more expensive.
Well, actually they were the same price.
Oh yeah. Now it's like 18K or something like that. 16.
Yeah. They were both similar because I did the 4-track, the 4 module with the live patient, and the Maxi course is really good for didactic, for theory. And I picked implant pathway because they have a clinic in Phoenix, and then you can place implants for 2 days. So that was the big one for me.
So you didn't place any implants during your GPR?
I only placed 1 or 2, and I placed 1 or 2 in dental school. And then
you placed some in dental school. Oh, that's awesome, dude.
I mean, that was like I was there with the oral surgeon.
But still, that
had the guide and everything, big. And yeah. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. Implants is big. I love doing implants. I love surgery, so that was one of them. But I also like doing other stuff too. So other general dentistry procedures.
What's your favorite procedure?
Ooh, I like reflecting a full thickness flap. That's my jam, dude. When you can see the bone and you can see everything. Oh man,
you feel like a real doctor.
You're like, all right, so get this. The other day I did a lip repositioning, right?
Oh.
Yeah, so I took the lip. She had gummy lips. And then I brought the lip down. And then my assistant, she came up to me after. She goes, of all the surgeries you've done, I think that was the most
coolest.
No, she was the most disturbed by it. Because I mean, when I was lip repositioning, you're pretty much filleting off the skin.
Yeah.
And then bringing it down. But
where'd you learn that?
I learned it at a perio course from Dr. Curry. The last one I went to in February.
Wow.
And yeah, and then she was like, of all the surgeries you've done, you know, when we flap and you see bone, because like you could see the muscles, or not them, you could see like the, you know, what's underneath, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the gingiva, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and she was just like, okay. But yeah, like, you know, like I love reflecting flaps. I like getting in there, and just doing that stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty fun. And then also sometimes I just like doing class 1 fillings. I'm like, oh, let me just do this.
Yeah.
You get your days where you're just like, I just want to do whatever,
Yeah.
you know. Yep.
So, we were talking about tips too, for new dentists. Do you have any tips for new dentists and someone looking to acquire practice or do a
Oh,
startup, that kind of stuff?
new dentist. Forget what you learned in dental school. I'll tell you that. Because when you go to, I mean, when you go to practice, everything is
Yeah.
different.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's different. And that just goes back to, this is why a lot of people are taking CE courses, you know, like I think it's just a reflection of how the dental school probably didn't prepare you well enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I was part of that, you know, like even though I had a good time in dental school, I learned a lot. I still came out knowing not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of things that I learned to do that I was like, no, like, you know, this is like what's been improved upon. So forget what you thought you knew, because when you come out, man, everything is different. And you got to learn. So don't come out thinking you know everything. Sure, you graduate at the top of your class, but
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know, and
Yep.
you're gonna learn quick. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna learn quick, and then I mean I've been humbled a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
So then you just gotta bite your tongue and be like, hey, you know what? How am I gonna learn? What am I gonna learn today from this experience? And
Mm-hmm.
I keep my notebook around. I have a small notebook.
Mm.
And I can also right here. Few notebooks, right?
Like a clinical notebook?
Everything. It's like what
Okay.
happened today. Like, oh, this patient did this.
Yeah.
So I'll write my notes, like clinical. Yeah. So like that, or like
That's big.
what did I piss off a patient? How did I piss off this patient? Or like, what did
Mm.
I say? You know, like you start figuring
Nice.
out, you start
Yeah.
noticing things. Like next time I'm not going to say that. Or
Yeah.
like, you know,
That's
like, oh,
smart.
this patient was actually pretty receptive to what I said. I'm like, okay, let me try this. So
Mm.
like, you just got to be conscious of what you're doing throughout the
Yeah.
day.
Like a reflection.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I just
Mm-hmm.
recap. I spend
Yeah.
about, before I leave, I'm like, I'm gonna go through my list. I'm like, okay, did this. Oh, this is what I learned into this case, you know, kind of thing. This is what I did differently. But yeah, I'd say that's been powerful. I have a whole box full of notebooks since dental school, and I've been doing
Wow.
that. So, have I gone back through them? No, but it's nice to like know, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, okay, I think I've written about that before.
Yeah. That's how you remember things. That's how you
Yeah.
reflect. And yeah, I started that, and that's really been helpful for the first month. You have so much to write about. So every day, I was at a corporate office, so I didn't even have time to write in it until like end
Yeah.
of the day, like
Yeah.
I'm going from seeing 2 patients a day in dental school to seeing like 15, 18 patients
Yeah.
a day. So
Yeah.
you get humbled real fast. And
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me was, you're making your own decisions. When you're in dental school, your decisions don't really matter. Like
Yeah. Because,
yeah,
yeah.
you can voice your opinion, but the faculty will say, no, do this and that. So
Yeah.
you don't
You
have
always
that
have to
critical
get,
thinking.
yeah, you have to get like a clean check, right? So,
Yeah.
hey, I think this is what the student plan is. The guy
Yeah.
will say, nah, let's do this, and this. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all learning experience. That's why it's the practice of, dentistry.
Yeah.
Um,
But when you don't have somebody to fall back on, that's when you start like panicking. You're like, oh,
yeah.
is that right thing to do? Like, is this a cavity? Even from basics like that, you start like
Yeah.
questioning yourself. And when someone comes in and they have emergencies, like, how am I dealing with it? Is this the correct medicine to give them? That kind of stuff.
Right.
So I think everybody's going to go through that.
Oh, yeah,
And so,
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. So just be prepared if you're watching and you are going to go into your first job. That's what you're going to,
Yeah.
there's
Prepare
no way to
to,
avoid it.
yeah, prepare to do things that you may not want to do.
Yeah.
And I've done that's happened to me. But then at the same time, looking back, you get a better understanding of why they do things. Like when you start breaking down, how the office is run,
Mm-hmm.
what's their system business in place, then you start realizing, okay, I get why they do things. And
Mm-hmm.
then you learn from it, make sure like the worst thing that can happen to a new is like not new dentist is like not being able to sleep at night. So make sure you're doing the dentistry that makes you sleep well at night. Because if you're
Mm-hmm.
stressing out about it, it's going to be a long career.
Oh
It's
yeah.
going to be a long career.
How did you deal with like, for me, I'm fortunate. I had somebody on speed dial. I can ask my dad, like I literally had
Yeah.
text messages. I was like, hey, what is this? I would send pictures of the x-rays.
Yeah.
How did you deal with it? Because I was thinking like, oh my God, if I didn't have somebody to speed
Yeah.
dial or call on critical things.
Yeah. So that's what I did. I had a
Mm,
few people on
okay.
speed dial,
Yeah.
colleagues,
Uh-huh.
people that are going through the same thing as me.
That's
And then I
important.
had, yeah, and then I had the owner docs that, so when I was practicing earlier with them,
Mm-hmm.
now I don't practice with them. And like, they've let me go on my own, as in like, they give me a day and they
Uh-huh.
don't have to watch me.
Yeah.
But before they would be there, just like,
Uh,
trying to calibrate
yeah.
uh, how I practice and do things. So they were
Yeah.
babysitting me. So that was a good, that helped a lot. If they had questions, you would talk to them.
That's cool.
But I mean, you got to find your mentors, right? So find someone
Yeah.
that is on your level of field, and then
Mm-hmm.
find someone who's doing it better than like how you want to do it. So like, have
Yeah.
that person. So you're like, hey man, what do you think about this case?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and then like my class. I mean, we all have a Facebook group, so we just, if you want to
Oh
rant,
yeah.
you can rant and do all that stuff, and just communicating, because that's the hard part with dentistry is like, you don't like the days that I'm there by myself, and if I have a problem, like it's just me who I have
Yeah.
to answer to. I can't. It's not as easy to
Exactly.
pick up and text someone, because they may be busy too. So, you got to have that outlet to like, reflect, talk to someone. Um,
Yeah.
and it's almost become like an every other day thing for me. It's like yesterday, I just talked to my buddy in Toronto. We went to residency with, talking to him about placing implants, and
Mm.
some issues that he was having and whatnot. So like, yeah, you just got to find that mentor. Just find those few people that you can talk to, and make sure that they, you trust
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
I think it's important to have mentors in different ages and different stages. Like,
Yeah.
like even you could be my mentor because you have ears on me, like this, just
Yeah.
talking like this, I learn a lot, like writing down clinical notes, or
Right.
how you started doing your implants. And I have some of my faculty members, like I had my endo faculty, shout out to Dr. Pierre. Like I just messaged them, I sent them the photos like, oh, this, I have this kind of symptoms. Like, am I doing it correctly? And
Yeah.
he messaged me back. And, so being close to your faculty members, helping them out any way you can during dental, and
Yeah.
building that bond and relationship is super important, even after, because it's a small community. You need that, backup, you
Yeah.
need that
For
community, you need
sure.
some friends. So I
Yeah.
highly recommend, being friendly with everybody and just,
Yeah. And you just got to know, like, just find the people that you trust. Like, I mean, and you put it like in all groups of ages and different stages of their careers, but make sure it's the one that, like, hey, if I see Dr. So-and-so and I want to be just like him,
mm-hmm,
then go to that guy. Go to the one that you think that style of practice is going to be you.
mm-hmm.
Because if you pick the wrong one, then, you may have some issues there. So just, be smart about it, talk to a lot of people. And yeah, don't be closed off. I mean, there'll be some people who are going to talk down upon you and, like, why are you doing this or blah, 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 but and they're probably not the right person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, I got a lot of good, you just gotta be nice. That's all you gotta do. Be nice and put your work in.
Yeah, hard work pays off, but hard work is hard.
Yeah, hard work is always
Life
gonna
is
be
hard, man.
hard. Dude.
Yeah, life
Yeah, man.
life is hard.
Gains
Damn.
mentors. What's going on, Dr. Sunyo? Anything else in the comments do we have?
Let's see. Anyone have questions for us? Post it up. And
Is our education useless that much? Um This is Dr. Is this X Sarah Ahmed? To be honest, it all goes down to the student, I think. You know, the school, the institution can only do so much, right?
Yeah, it's the foundation.
Yeah. So like I learned a lot in dental school, but then they only teach you the basics. And you go out, everything's changed. So then now you have to go back and be a learner again. So
Yeah,
not useless per se. It just gives you the basics, the foundation to be minimally competent in what
yeah,
you do, which is dentistry. And then after that, it's up to you.
yeah,
You can drill and bill all day long if you want, or you can
yeah,
expand and do whatever. So
yeah.
it all comes down to what you want to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's useless at all. It's a
Yeah.
great foundation. It's a foundation. They're just building the floor for you, and it's your responsibility to build that house.
Yeah.
And they can't just feed you. They're just leading you to the water, and you have to learn.
Yeah.
You have to learn to do things. So that's why it's really important to always build that community where you can learn from. Again, like we mentioned, continue your education. That's why I always would, if I could have, I would have done GPR, AGD,
Yeah.
And I think that's important for, especially now with COVID. And like this is a different subject to talk about, but COVID will definitely affect all economy, all businesses. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah.
The good thing though about COVID, well, not the good thing is like going back to work the past 2 weeks, the patient vibe I feel like is more or less the same.
Yeah.
If anything, these patients realize I haven't been to a dentist in 9 weeks, or the ones who were in pain and had emergency.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, they're thinking, I know how important it is to have a dental home. So like patients will start to realize, okay, like health is important kind of thing, and dentistry will be impacted. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we're living through it right now. So yeah.
I think, private offices are a lot of small private offices are, suffering because of this too, like just being shut down for so long, cash flow problems. But every hardship, there's always an opportunity if you know what you're looking for and how to handle it. And some of the things I'm doing at the office is, reaching out to, I'm doing a lot of Google ads for emergency patients.
Nice. I just ran one today.
Yeah, man. Google ads has done like tremendous for us. Like before, like my dad's office, he used to do 1-800-DENTIST back in the days. Like that was like just really bad patients coming in.
Right.
But Google ads, I started for him a long time ago, but I didn't do it right. I just kind of threw it out there and throwing money, seeing what sticks. We did that for a long time. We got a few, but it wasn't very focused. But I got this book on Google AdWords, and I started using some of the methods.
What's the book called? Because I got one right here.
Oh, let me see. It's called Google AdWords Ultimate Guide to Google AdWords. It's a green book.
Nice. I got this guy right here.
Let me see.
Grow Your Practice Online.
Oh, okay.
Adam Zilko. So like,
mine's a really technical like Google Ads book.
Nice.
So it just does it talk about like negative keywords and like all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean it's more. I'm on that section right now, but it's like framing the keywords, knowing like having multiple campaigns, and like, I mean, I was like, so when I first started, I ran 3 months of Google AdWords. Probably won 1 or 2 ads. Didn't really think much of it. I spent a lot of money. A lot of people clicked through had a lot of impressions, but no one converted. Like I didn't get any patients in my chair.
Yeah.
So I stopped that. And then this book was referred to me, and it's like, hey, I mean, you got to do Google ads and you got to do it the right way. So then the guy or the office that I'm working at, they gave me this book to say, hey, check this out. So, all right, well, so I just started last week. But yeah, I mean, Google ads is brand new to me. So hopefully I can figure that out.
Dude,
we need to talk about that. We need to have a section.
Yeah, study
Google
that
Ads.
because it's doing awesome for us. Like we are getting a lot of patients through it, and I think it's a whole system of Google Ads, and then the website has to kind of represent that. And scheduling online. I know you have a local med going on, right?
Right,
I'm
right.
using. I was gonna do local med, but I went. It kind of came with my system called what was it legwork. I don't know if you heard of legwork.
Uh-uh.
It's not like they can't. It's not as like fine tuned as local med, but it just requests schedules and we can approve it or deny it. So basically it's like leads, they're like, I want this appointment, but we can call them and
Right.
be like, oh, we don't have that. But they gave us some preferences. But anyways, like I did that just this week and I'm getting a lot and I'm using stuff like Podium,
Hmm.
Weave. Do you use any of those?
So I have Weave, but
Okay, you do.
so I had 3 months of without using it, and then I
Uh-huh.
realized I don't really need it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So I'm switching that out. I have
What do you
Open Dental. So Open Dental does texting.
okay.
Um, so I'm probably gonna get out of. I'm trying to get out of Weave right now, and then
Mm-hmm.
switch over to Open Dental for texting and all. Because we mainly just use it for filtering phone calls and
Okay.
all that. We weren't utilizing it to the max.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, it was more of a money, let's save
Oh
money
yeah. Mm-hmm.
kind of
That's
decision
huge.
because
It's
my
not cheap.
office, yeah, my office is pretty small.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, am I really getting my money's worth for this service? So
How about how do you track like analytics and stuff like that at your office? Are you doing that currently?
for the analytics, so are you talking about like how much like revenue or like
Yeah,
procedures?
production,
Yeah, I
like
mean,
missed
open dental.
attrition, all that.
Yeah,
Open Dental has all that. Okay.
open dental has all that, but I just keep track of like how many new patients we saw, what was the
Mm-hmm.
production of the month, what did we collect,
Mm-hmm.
um, all I mean, just the basics.
Do you
Um,
discuss that with your team members?
well, my team member prints it out for me and they highlight it, and I tell them like, hey, our goal is X amount this month, and they know, so they
Mm-hmm.
have to hit that, and then like I ask them like, hey, why did we produce X amount, but we only collected, this?
Mm-hmm.
So like, then we go back through and we look at the charts, who didn't pay and all that.
Yeah,
Um,
collections is hard.
collections is hard, but I mean, just keeping it. I mean, my office is small enough where I can kind of keep track of it, like in my head, and be like, I know the patients and what
Mhm.
we've done and what we collect. I mean, there's always something like collected when the patient comes. Like we just make sure like we try to stay on top of it, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In terms of systems and all that, is there anything that you guys are doing right now, or any plans of things that what are some things you want to implement? I'm curious too, just because we're kind of in the
Um,
similar road.
like, what do you mean by systems? Like,
Like for example, like is there anything you're doing? Do you have an operational manual, or like are you having any like meetings and stuff like that? How are things
yeah,
managed?
yeah. So I do have an operations manual.
Okay.
Um, I've been updating that. I mean, it was been
Okay.
pretty good when I first opened, and
Uh-huh.
I have my employees sign it, review
Hmm.
it.
Oh.
Most
Mhm.
of it's all in there in terms
Okay.
of how we practice, and
Mm.
it's pretty small practice.
Yeah.
It's not hard,
Hmm.
to like, I guess, manage the two, because we all work at close quarters,
Yeah.
so
So
that's
do
not
you,
an
do you
issue.
daily, do you tell them what to do, or do they have like a checklist and like a
No,
to-do list that they go?
they know, like they know what to
Okay.
do. Like, so
Okay.
the front desk has the role, so she goes over with the assistant and me, like, all right, we got this. Or like usually I'll go over it with them and be like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this patient, okay, making sure that this patient has due, we need to do prophy, bite wings or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did we verify insurance? Get verified insurance. What's their copay? Do they have outstanding balance? We go through all that. Oh, hey, by the way, they have family. Go make sure you remind them to go get their schedule in, all that. Give them a referral card, write it down. Okay, make sure when they leave, every time they leave, a patient always has their next appointment,
Mm.
regardless. So it's 6 months. It's always in the computer.
Yeah.
Hey, your appointment's 6 months, this date. Here's a card. If you need to make a change, let us know. But right now it's
Mm-hmm.
6 months to keep it consistent. So we always have our patients scheduled 6 months out. Um, I used to have meetings every Thursday. Got lazy, and that's my fault. But then we're going back to it because now there's a lot more things going on that I want to do and talk about, like regards to patients and like the following weeks, and like, hey, we've been here for a year now. This is what I see that needs to be improved. Let's start doing this. So usually 30 minutes in the mornings on a Thursday to an hour. They tell me what they need from me. I tell them what I need from them. We have those conversations of like, hey, like my assistant, like I tell, like, for example, my assistant is like, hey, I noticed that you weren't getting the trays properly set up. Is there anything I can do to help you get those set up, or what's going on there? You've been forgetting a lot of things lately. Like, let's make sure that we get our trays properly set up for the day and then for the next day, if need be. And I tell them like, hey, I noticed that you didn't, we need to clean more. We need to clean properly, or like, I cleaned this. I noticed some things. Just make sure we stay up on top of it. Any issues that are going on is what happens in that meeting. But yeah, I mean, we talk freely, and then everyone pretty much knows what they need to do, kind of thing. But it's also 3 of us, so like I can kind of like manage it because I'm only working out of 1 column right now. So it's not, I can just look ahead and be like, okay, for patients, I can make sure that I tell them they need to do this kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, I have checklists for them. They have each role or each position has their own set of roles, tasks that they need to do. So they know that right off the bat. And if they don't, then it's like, all right, well, why didn't we do it? You ask them. Yeah.
Leadership's hard, man. Like, just like, like especially as young dentists, I think, if you have like older staff members, I think it would be a lot more difficult. That's why I kind of do like younger. I've been, kind of leaning toward younger staff members just because it's easier to communicate. They're not as stuck. Sure. They're not as stuck,
Yeah. And then like the style is different. Like, I mean, the doctors I work with, I'm an employee to them. Okay. Communication can be better in terms of, what's going on, like, I feel like I'm like, I could feel like there's a separation, like those doctors and then like, then the staff and then me, like, so there's going to be that obviously. But some doctors manage it better than others. But yeah, the styles, there's a lot of different styles. Some just like, just do what you do. I'll do what I do. And, let other people run their part. Some like to have their hand in everything. I try not to micromanage is what I learned.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, hey man, like, like we need, like, I see this, I know I'm not telling you how to do your job, but like, I need this done. Like, this should have been done yesterday kind of thing, like, all right, like, at a certain point when they see you start doing their job, then they're gonna be like, so like, it's like, hey, like, I need this done. But I mean, like, that's where you have the conversation. Like, you got to recalibrate them, or like, let them know, hey, this is what happened. This is what I saw last week. We need to fix this next week, kind of thing. So,
what's the hardest part of managing people for you?
Getting people to, I guess, having the people understand why you do things, like, because like when you own it and then you do it your way, how you see it, like sometimes they're like, they blow it off, or like, why do I need to do that? Or they'd rather do something else, or just feel like they don't think what I am saying to them is important. Like they don't, like, the perceived value is not there. Like, they're not meeting.
They don't take ownership. It's like,
right. So that's the hard part. It's like, I'm just working for you kind of thing. But I tell them like, hey, if you don't do your job, we don't get paid. If we don't get paid, I can't pay you. And if I can't pay you, what if this office is not here in 3 months, 6 months, like, so you gotta tell them how it is. Like, hey, like, let's get the work done, because like, it's not, we can't just sit there and
Yeah.
expect it to be done for us. So like there's a few conversations like those, but I mean, for the most part, they've been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They know when I'm going to be strict. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, like, let's get this done. um, but yeah, you know, like
Yeah.
luckily my staff has been pretty good. I let go one person
Mm-hmm.
when the first one that she came in, but that was tough too. Firing people, letting people go is
Yeah. That's how
not a
he's.
fun thing.
It's like a
Yeah,
breaking up.
yeah. I mean, it sucks, but you know, at
Yeah.
the end of the day,
Gotta
it's
do
like,
what you gotta do.
yeah. And it was mutual. I mean, she
Mm-hmm.
understood,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, hey, like I had to do what I had to do because
Yeah.
then this is a situation where if I didn't let her go, me being the leader would have been totally compromised. Like no one would have respect for me in the office.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, he went back on his word. Now I can do whatever I want. Like
Mm.
then people are gonna start taking advantage of the situation.
Oh yeah.
And like, you know, like
Mm.
what she did was wrong. She wanted to come back, and I was like, I can't have you do like no, like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I was like, hey, you gotta go. And so then she pretty much quit.
Mm.
Slash I let her go, slash she quit. Like what was that? And then
Mutual.
yeah. And then my assistant was like, hey, now you're gonna have to learn the front desk.
Mm.
I had to learn the front desk too, and I was freaking out for a little bit, but
Yeah, man.
now I know pretty much like how to run the front schedule,
Uh-huh.
go and like figure out insurances and do all that. Work the programs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Damn.
If it's one thing I learned, it's learn how to do everything yourself.
Well,
At
you're
least some,
expert.
at least some
You
of
know
it.
how to do things now.
Yeah, at least some of it. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
the other day I was listening to a podcast and the guy was like, I don't know how to bill insurance. I'm like, what do you mean don't know how to bill insurance? Like I had to bill insurance for I had to learn how to do that and then
Mm-hmm.
learn it, teach someone else to do it, then I know how to do it. But like when he said that, I was like, man, like he's like, yeah, doctor should not know how to bill insurance. I was like,
Which podcast was that?
I think it was shared practices.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
like some practice underwater thing. So
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah, so
George Hurry.
yeah. And then I was like, in my head, I was like, man, should I not be learning how to do front office stuff if he
I mean,
doesn't
it's
even
good
know?
to know. It's
Yeah,
good
no,
to
and
know.
like I said, know how your front desk runs
Yeah.
because the last thing you want to do is have someone in your front taking advantage of the situation and you have no idea what's going on.
Mm.
Like, and then if I need to do it, patient's not here, then, or my front staff is not here, then yeah, like I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, most dentists don't know how to run anything,
Yeah,
honestly, in the front. It's people dependent, you know?
yeah. I mean, yeah, you just gotta know at least something,
Yeah.
not be totally oblivious to how your front is, or else then you're shit out of luck, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So, what are your some of your goals, man? Tell me some of your goals. Where do you see yourself in 5 years and then 10 years? What's your dream practice like? And
And
um,
5 years, I'm just hoping, like, so the practice is pretty much breaking even right now.
mm-hmm.
I'm hoping this upcoming year and the next 2 years, like, then starts rising. It's a little bit more comfortable, probably from 3 days to now 4 days, 4 days with a productive schedule.
How many days are you working
Um,
right now in that
three
practice? Your
days,
practice? 3 days?
three
Okay.
days. Yeah, I was working 4 before COVID, and then during COVID, I was like, you know what, like I need to cut back to 3, just because the hours made sense, and I
Mm-hmm.
need to make sure that the patients come in on those times, like to
Mm-hmm.
control the situation of what's going on, and like, um, right, yeah. So that was my idea or thinking behind it, and then yeah, so then 5 years, you know, hopefully still growing and just moving up. 10 years, possibly have a second practice or now mainly focus on implants, like
Mm-hmm.
focusing on implants, and then implant run clinic slash maybe have 2 offices, general and then the implant, or something like that, and have an associate in there. Um, Yeah.
So you dream of having one general practice, and then you'll have an associate doing that, and then you kind of want that implant
Yeah,
practice.
I'm thinking about doing mainly focusing solely on implants,
Mm-hmm.
geared towards that. So I'll have the associate there. Uh, Probably just maybe in one move that practice I have now to just one big pilot practice and
Mm-hmm.
just be comfortable out of that one. I mean, two is cool. Um, but it's like one or two offices. I don't see myself having more than two, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
unless I really grow it, then yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you interested in like the process aspect of like restoring implants too? Or are you into like all in fours and all that stuff?
Yeah. So pretty much all that stuff. On
Okay.
fours, um, yeah, pretty much. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the fun part I like.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
You like the restoring part too?
Yeah, the restoring part can be a little stressful.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, just restoring is I like it because like from start to finish, like I like to see what like I
Yeah.
mean you can place the implants, but then like if the occlusion's
Yeah.
off or like
It's
I
so
want to see the
important.
patient towards the end, and be like, all right, this is what we did for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, be a part of that process. So
Yeah. A lot of people place implants, but they don't think about the restoring part of it. And I think that's kind of I think you kind of need to if you want to go to the next level,
yeah,
like
I
placing
mean like
implants without
yeah,
thinking about the end result is
yeah,
kind of pointless
yeah, restorative driven is how I place my implants. So
for sure.
like for example, like all in four cases, like I'm doing one right now.
Mm.
Um, we're doing overdentures for him,
Mm-hmm.
but we're setting it up so if he wanted to convert to like all zirconia, we
Mm-hmm.
just unscrew or
Mm-hmm.
pop the dentures out and just fabricate for the all in four or the
Mm-hmm.
zirconias. So
Like the zirconia bridges.
yeah, so we're just
Okay.
setting it up for that. I mean, it's treatment plan and set the surgery set up for that. So if he does want it in the future, then we could do it.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we're starting off with overdentures and see how he does.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, and then so hopefully in 10 years I'll be what 40, 41. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just
Still young, man. 41.
hoping I'm living a good life, a nice life, a simple life, easy life. I mean,
Uh-huh.
nothing too crazy. I don't think nothing too flashy either. It's just
Mm-hmm.
just enjoying dentistry. I don't think I'm gonna get out of dentistry and like do the full-time teaching because I think I like the clinical a little too much. I love
Oh,
the
you want to
clinical.
teach?
No. I don't think I see myself teaching too
Oh,
much. Like I'll probably
okay.
teach, but not like
Oh.
I won't be removing myself from my office.
Mm-hmm.
I'd still be doing dentistry.
Okay.
But with that being said, too, I was like, when you have a practice, you got to have an exit plan.
Mm-hmm.
So um, that's where I got to think about, okay, do I want a general practice that's heavily based off implants and pros, where it's harder to kind of sell, I guess, versus like build a thriving general practice, and then the transition is easier for another dentist to come in. So those are some of the things that I got to think about.
There's a lot to think about, isn't there? Isn't it
Yeah,
crazy how
yeah,
much, like, especially if you own your own practice, you're doing the clinical
yeah,
stuff, and people don't realize how much business things there
yeah,
is, like, and like, it's crazy. There's no time to rest at all,
yeah.
honestly.
And
It's,
like you got to think about like, okay, you own your practice, but then like, what's your exit plan now? How are you going to, let's say you want to retire or like finish
mm-hmm,
dentistry in 10 years, like how are you
yeah,
going to set yourself up and that practice so you
mm-hmm,
can make that transition? Because if you're just working to work and then one day you're like, hey, I need to sell it, but you never took the steps before, and then you got to spend another few more years trying to figure that out,
mm-hmm,
and then get it ready or primed for selling, which is what I'm seeing a lot now. Like my general dentist, she's selling her practice. She one day was like, hey, I'm ready to retire. Do you want to practice? Do you want my practice? And I was like, well, like I don't know about that, so, and then like that just got me thinking, like she didn't really have an exit strategy. She was just
uh,
hoping someone's going to come in and buy it,
yeah,
And nowadays that doesn't work like that. You got to have something,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like if you were buying a practice, you want to make sure like, hey, I can reproduce, um, the price is just right, you know, and it's sustainable, you know, so
Mm-hmm.
sustainable model. There's a lot of things that goes on that you pretty much got to think of the end of your career too. So
Yeah, it's complicated. It's complex. There's a lot to think about for sure. Damn.
Yep.
Who are some of your favorite Instagram people that you follow, like clinical, business, or whatever? Like, who do you follow? What kind of people do you follow?
I can't really go on my Instagram. Let's go on my Instagram right now.
Just
Let's see. I follow Dr. Payray.
Pay
Payray's good for surgery.
Oh, okay.
PN
Ray.
WOMS, bloody tooth guy, oral surgeons. There's a bunch of pros like Dr. Bedrosian and the 365 guys. They got some good stuff going on there. SF Dental Nerd for the occasional laugh and see what's being trolled on. So stuff like that. But to be honest, I try not to pay attention to like social media of like dentistry and all that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's cool to look at because sometimes I get like, and this happens to me too. Like I look at some stuff and I'm like, damn, like, am I doing the stuff? Like, what am I doing in my practice? That's like, it just doesn't feel like to that standard. Right. So like I get down on myself and I'm like, damn, like, you know, so like there's a lot of that sometimes happens and you're just like, and you start comparing yourself.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as being a business owner, you're like, damn, like that dude has a good business. And I get down on myself because I can do that. I can do the work, but I just don't have, you know, what he has. Like, I don't have the nice office. I don't have all that. So then that's like, you know, like,
that's what social media does, man. It makes you compare.
I forget. Yeah. And I forget sometimes. I'm like, I've only had this practice for 1 year. They've been here 10 years, 12 years, you know, like David Wong, you know, one of my good friends and mentors. He had a crazy story when he first started 2003, but look where he's at right now, 17 years in practice. So like, you know, I forget like this dude took him 17 years to get where he's at, you know, like, and I'm over here like bitching and complaining, like why I'm not like that, or like, how come I can't get that? And then I forget, dude, like I'm like 17 years behind him. And so that's the tough part, man. So I try not to pay attention to the social media and what people are doing. I do it more for learning. You know, like there's a few doctors that I've, like Dr. Mataria, he's out in LA. We've established a really good connection for implants because he runs a dental college out, teaching institution. And we talk about implants. Dr. Mataria, Mataria.
Dr. Mataria.
There's a lot of implants and stuff. So like a lot of the things that we talk about are cases that I posted, and he's like screenshot, drawing them like, hey doc, you should probably think about this next time, and you know, stuff like that. So there's a few of those, but other than for learning purposes, like, yeah, I just try not to pay attention to, like, it's hard, you know, because sometimes you find yourself comparing because you think that could be you, or you like, man, I'm doing the same things they're doing, but I don't have, like, why is my situation not the same as theirs? So I forget that, and sometimes I go down a spiral, and
you get hard on yourself.
Man. Yeah, you do, and then you're just like, damn, this is demoralizing, or like, you're like, what am I doing? Like, I'll never be good enough dentist, or, you know, and you start saying stuff like that, and then then you rewind, and you're like, all right, what's my situation like right now, and you know, what am I gonna do to get to where I want to be? And that's gotta take it day by day, kind of thing.
Yeah, enjoy the process.
But yeah, don't get too sucked into comparing, because that happens a lot. And then sometimes I find myself just get off Instagram and not, you know, worry too much what other people are doing. So that's the hard part. The practice Beverly Hills, one of my good friends, Dustin, That's who I learned it from. And I asked him, I was like, dude, like, you're in Beverly Hills. Do you pay attention to what other doctors are doing and all that? And he's like, no, man, like, can't do that. And he's young too. He's what, I think 2 years older than us.
Mm-hmm.
You're older than us, and nice practice out in Beverly Hills, you know, doing veneers and stuff. Like, he's doing good work, and you know, he's told me that you just can't compare yourself to others because that's not something that you should worry about. I was like,
For sure.
yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mindset's important, and keeping it healthy is important.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, there's like this past week was tough because, like, you know, like, everyone's going back to work, and then you're trying to get patients, and then, like, you know, everything just like, all right, now how do I make money? How do I make next week's pay or next month's payroll?
Are you open right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just started last week.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, you know, it's pretty stressful for a lot of people, and you know, you just gotta take it day by day.
Yeah, for sure. What do you do as a hobby to get away from all the dentistry and online Instagram?
Dude, honestly, working out is a big thing.
Yeah.
Work out almost every day,
Mm-hmm.
if not 5 days, 6 days a week.
Damn.
And then Call of Duty, man.
I was waiting for that.
Call of Duty, and then like lately it's been put on the back burner because it's like I gotta focus now on the practice. Like
Yeah.
I used to just do, like, there was a time where I was like just doing Call of Duty because I was like, I didn't want to deal with the practice right now. So when things got real and you start to open up, you're like, oh shit, you know, now I gotta change my priorities. So that's where I started with the Google ads, trying to get patients in. So, and that's what I'm doing for that. But yeah, other than
it always seems like it's back to the business though, you know, like
yeah, it's always nonstop. And like, it's hard too, because like I hate coming home having to deal with the business stuff. It's like, I just came from work, now I'm gonna deal with it. So like, usually at night I don't touch the business, and then during the day it's like, all right, let's get everything that I need to get done, because then I don't want to bring stuff home because I just get stressed out, and you're just like, dude, why am I doing this at home? I should have done this earlier, kind of thing, you know, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always never ending. There's always things to do for the business. It never stops. You just got to learn how to manage it, control it better, be better with your time.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for new dentists that are, you know, they're going to go into your footsteps, and like, you know, they got to know, because some people think it's going to be just, if I know dentistry, I'll be good. You know, what are some tips or advice you'd give them?
Dude, be an open book, I guess. Learn as much as you can, because maybe practice ownership may not be for you, and you like working for someone and doing whatever, then that's great, you know. But as long as you're aware of that, understand that dentistry, you're not in it for the money. Yeah. Yes, there is a comfortable living that comes with it. But hey, man, like, for people who don't know, I still live at home with my parents. It's been like that since 2000 when I moved back, and it's like and then it also goes down to, like, chose to practice in California, so it's just expensive, competitive market. Sure, now it's a lot more difficult to practice here than other states, but is it doable? Yeah. It's just, are you willing to do all that difficult work, you know? But like I said, learn a lot. The first few years, 5 years, it's going to be all learning. Just go with it. You're going to figure things that you don't like to do, figure things that you like to do. And just go with what you're doing. And then, it takes time, you know, like, in a world where there's instant gratification, you know, like, people think, oh, I'm going to make 120 coming out of here. Slow down there a little bit. I mean, if you're in California, slow down. somewhere else, maybe you can make it easy 120, sure. But
Mhm.
figure out where you want to live. If that's where you want to live and practice, start there, because I've been hearing a lot of like, hey, I want to move out there, do some dentistry. I'm like, it's hard. Like, if you're just
Yeah.
going to go out here, like, if you want to live, like, if you're going to find a place where you want to live,
Mhm.
start there.
Mhm.
Because the last thing you want to do is live somewhere else and be like, damn, I hate living here. But then now you're practicing on there. I mean, it's good if you're an associate. You can just pick up and leave, 2 years. All right, I'm moving back. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to do your due diligence. You got to research. You got to see, the pros and cons of opening up your own practice versus an associate. You got to know what you
Yeah.
want. You got to enjoy your work, right? If you don't enjoy the business part, you honestly can't open up your own place,
Yeah.
because it's going to be hard for you to be successful. It's going to be very, very hard unless, I don't know, there are a few lucky people, I guess, that are like given, they buy a practice and the people that run it, the systems are in place and it's like running, you're just thrown into it and you're doing a clinical, but you don't know what's going to happen with that once a person in the front leaves, and you don't
and
know
that's
how
the
to bill
thing too.
insurance.
Yeah, it's like I learned a big thing was cross training, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my front desk was also my assistant before I moved to the front
Mm-hmm.
desk, and then now she teaches my assistant things, and now she's teaching my assistant how to answer phone calls. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say my front desk is sick.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, my assistant, hey, the phone's ringing. Can you go ahead and answer that? And they know, oh, hey, thank you for calling Dr. Torculas' office. This is blah, 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 so-and-so. How may I help you? And then like, okay, then they know how, oh, you're a new patient. Okay, what's a good number to reach you at before this phone gets disconnected? Okay, what's your main concern? Do you have any insurance? How'd you hear about us? Okay, we have an appointment today at 1:00. Would you like to come in? No, I want to come in tomorrow. Okay, so they get them in the book. So like that whole process, my assistant knows, versus like having to rely on the front office who was sick for that day or had to go out and do something. Like
Mm-hmm.
someone knows how to answer phone calls, check insurance, and do all the basic stuff to get the patient in. Then after that, we can figure everything out. So yeah, and then then everything else, falls into place. And as long as people know somewhat each other's roles, then I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah. It's the hardest thing, man, when you have a small team and someone goes out sick, like, because sickness just comes once in a, like, you don't know when it's going to come. They get a fever or something and then they're out.
Yeah.
As a dentist, you're like, oh my God, like, especially if they're not cross-trained as a small team.
Yeah. And I mean, luckily, like, the cross training is like, it's pretty, knowing how to answer phone calls or taking in new patients.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually the schedule is full for the day. So we take emergencies same day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at least come in, get your x-rays. Okay, then we're going to figure it out. That's what we need, kind of thing. So, but nothing too crazy. If anything, if a patient has a serious question, we always say, hey, we needed some time to figure this out. We'll call you back, kind of thing, for the cross training and all that. But I mean, someone's got to know something about each other's roles so that it's easier transition, or easier for me, easier for the front desk, easier for the assistant, so that it's not like we're pointing fingers and blaming, hey, kind of like situation, this scenario, and if they're sick, like, like I want to be like, if you're sick, you stay home. I don't want to force you to come in, because
especially these days,
only you know how to do the job. Like,
everyone
should know how to do each other's job to a certain extent,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, man.
It got heavy at the end. Real life.
Yeah, dude. Like you got it. Yeah.
Life is not easy, everybody.
Yeah, life is never easy, man. And I mean, we're lucky, right now. We're lucky we're dentists, like,
I
love being, I think dentistry is probably one of the better professions to be in.
For sure. For sure, man.
Now, next year, even like in the future, so it's just how you go about it. But
yeah, there's nothing that's easy, even dentistry, and dentistry is probably the best job in the world, I think. I mean, in terms of like US World Report, whatever, it says we're like number 3 right now. But if you I think it's because we report differently. Most people are business owners, so we're just reporting the income, not the practice profit and all that stuff. So
Right.
anyways, so in terms of that, I think dentistry is great in terms of having the flexibility to work and having the option to own your own practice, and most
Do whatever
likely
you
never,
want. Yeah.
yeah, you'll never starve as a dentist, most likely. You know, everyone has teeth. And so, but yeah, man, economy, it's going to be tough for everybody. You know, we got to be grateful for the type of practice we have or type of life that we have. And
For sure.
yeah, man, it's tough out there. People are just right, man, right now, dude, that with the rioting and COVID, oh my God, man, it's crazy world right now. Crazy world we live in. I don't know. I don't even know how to process it.
Dude, man, it's insane. So
It's sad. It's really sad. Yeah, I just
how's your city doing?
um I
Because
don't
you're in
know, man.
you're Inland
I'm in
Empire,
Riverside.
so
Riverside, yeah.
okay, so
Riverside, man, I don't know. Like, I'm just worried because I feel like the next wave is gonna come and hit us real hard.
so
People
you're talking
get,
about COVID? You're talking about COVID?
yeah.
I mean,
In terms
I think
of
it's
COVID.
this week. Watch out for this weekend or this upcoming weekend and then the following weekend. I think that's when it's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah, I mean, just
spike.
going around, I see people getting more lax. People are not wearing masks, and it's like right now, it's like nobody can force you to wear masks. So like even when you go to Costco or wherever, like there's people that most people are wearing masks, but there's those few that are like not wearing
Yeah.
masks and just like, you know, I mean, there's different opinions on masks, but I mean, what in my opinion is it doesn't hurt. You know, it doesn't hurt, and it's a community thing. And me being Korean, and I see how Koreans regulate this thing, and I know a lot of Americans are like, oh, that's, you know, taking away your freedom and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't. Maybe it's a cultural thing, but I don't see it that way. You know, like
Yeah.
it's working. It's working, man. It's working over there. It's like, oh man, it's just kind of unfortunate for me. I don't want to get too political, but all this
Yeah.
freedom stuff. But maybe it's a cultural thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They just started, you know, like there's a few spots in San Diego where like the beaches are open.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really seem like social distancing is going on. It's
No.
cool. But I mean, I know I'm staying home for another month or so. Like,
Yeah.
so let that go. And then they started rioting out here in La Mesa.
Oh shoot!
The
Really?
city. Yeah. I mean, it didn't seem too bad. Like there was some stuff broken into, but
Huh?
for the most part, it was, from what I saw, it wasn't too bad. Some places got hit hard, but nothing too major. But yeah, and then they had a few spots in San Diego. I haven't checked up on those, but I have a camera in my office, so just to make sure, like, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's
dude.
been pretty quiet. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, did you see that? I think you saw it too. You reposted that Instagram photo of there's like left extremist groups supposedly doing it and making it aggravating it and
Yeah,
all
you
that.
know,
That's, oh man, dude, it's nuts right now, man. Why? What's going
people.
on, America?
Yeah, dude.
Jesus,
Crazy times, man. And you know, it's
dude.
scary. Like it sucks because like last night I was trying to go to bed, and then like
Hmm.
I'm just watching Instagram story after story of what's going on, and it's really disheartening, you know. And um, oh no,
Yeah, well, it's okay.
Instagram Live. Let me just plug in my laptop quick.
Yeah.
All right, are you back on live?
I'm about to right now. Oh damn, it's already been 2 hours. Holy shit.
Yeah, hey man. So I need to learn this. So Google Ads is working for you because I need to learn. Like that's
Yeah,
the
man.
one thing. Like if I can get a few more patients off Google Ads, like I'll
Dude,
be
Google
okay.
Ads. especially you with being fee for service, I think emergency will work really well for you because a lot of emergency patients will pay cash, like
Right.
we need this right now kind of thing. And as long as you can kind of convert them, I think it'll be great. Yeah.
What's
I'll
the
recommend that book too.
yeah,
And
can you send me that link for that
yeah,
or for that book? Yeah.
yeah, book. And also a lot of it I learned on YouTube too. So I'll find that YouTube guide that I learned from. Negative keywords is like the key thing for me. Like,
What's
cause so negative keywords are like, it's compared to, so like, how we have the keywords that people look up, but then a lot of our money is being wasted on, um, non-relevant keywords. So
right.
negative keywords are things that you don't want. Like, for example, if they're looking for like, I don't know, something about dentistry, they're like more going like dental student looking up dentist or something, like looking up stuff like that. You don't want that being showing up and people clicking on it and wasting your money. So I use a lot of negative keyword stuff. I'll send it to you.
Cool.
I'm not expert, so I can't explain it, but that's worked out really, really well for me.
Right on.
So I'm more comfortable throwing more money at it because I'm not seeing it wasted, conversions there. People are calling, people are messaging me. So making it easy for them to contact you, because I have Podium chat box on my thing. So that's, people are contacting me through there.
Oh, are you
I
the
also,
ones, are you responding to the, like if I go on to that and like, oh, does it say, hey, how can we help you now? Are you the one
yeah.
responding?
No, my team will respond. But on the weekends, like I'm responding because my team's not there and I don't
Yeah.
want to lose that patient. So I just talk to them, tell them, like give them some tips. I just tell them I'm Dr. Andrew. I'm actually an associate dentist. We're closed right now, but if you're in pain, I recommend taking some, ibuprofen, whatever, acetaminophen,
Right, right.
and kind of building that kind of help. I'm just trying to be as helpful as possible, hoping that they will, they can control that pain and come in. Um,
Cool.
and I think we're thinking about opening up Saturdays because Saturdays is when I got like 10 messages yesterday, dude, 10 patients trying to call in one day because they're in pain and they can't find the Saturday, dental office that's open on Saturdays. So I think it's really important when you're trying to grow. And my office is as small as yours too. So having hours that other dentists won't do, you
Right.
got to commit to it.
So, I
And
mean,
I think,
going off of that, like, so
yeah.
I used to work Saturdays, but then I was like, then that's I'm working 6 days, So like,
Yeah, that's true.
I,
You
I
work other
pulled,
places too.
I pulled back my Saturday on my practice because I wanted to
Hmm.
consolidate so I can fill Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday first. If I can
Uh-huh.
get a consistent Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday schedule, then
Yeah.
I'm gonna open up a Saturday.
How about your
So
hours? How about your hours? What time are you opening?
9 to 6.
Yeah. So I think I'm also thinking about changing my hours, like staggering it, like maybe like a little earlier, 8 to 4 or something, nine to
Right,
five,
right,
and then 10 to 6, that kind
yeah.
of thing. Yeah, I'm ready to do that because I think this is a good time right now to invest in that because a lot of dental offices are still closed, and a lot of them
Really,
are
I feel like a lot of them are opening. Like, well, I don't know.
there.
San Diego feels like it's open for
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
I think I think a lot of few of them are closed because of business problems, perhaps, maybe. I think there's still opportunity to gain, especially like emergency patients, like late hours when they're not open, they don't know where to
Right,
go. It's you can capture those patients, and if
sure.
they like you better, because a lot of patients, man, not, and having worked in not just corporate, just like different offices that are not ideal in my standard,
Right.
um a lot of patients still go there because I honestly think they don't know better. There's we know your office and my office, we think this is, man, this is nothing like the other offices, a lot
Right.
of the
But
majority offices,
they don't understand or know, like how we practice,
yeah,
kind of thing. So like
yeah,
that's the thing is like we gotta like, and that's the hard part is like, hey, how do we let people know
hmm,
the style of practice that we do is
yeah.
really beneficial for them versus going down to the other street, I mean, so that's their judgment that they have to make, and it all goes down to marketing, how
Yeah.
we present ourselves.
And I try not to focus on like there's it's almost impossible to explain them the clinical things. My clinical will always be there. I'm trying to do our best clinical work all the time, but
Right.
the patients, most patients won't understand that. They can't get that technical perspective even if we show them. So
Right.
we'll keep that, and they'll know. As they build our relationship for like years to come, they'll know it's not failing or whatever. So what I focus on is like the comfort, this whole experience coming in, being nice. I'm always telling my like teams, like, you guys have to be nice. And
Oh yeah, of course.
yeah, like it's like, that's number one priority. And when they come in, just giving them extra step and, extra time, because like when I'm working at the other big offices, I'm seeing 3-4 patients at a time, and they're waiting 40 minutes, an hour sometimes. Like if I'm hit with like a root canal and then have the double book me, and
Yeah.
the hygiene, it's nuts. I can't do things right,
Yeah.
and patients still go there. They're still nice enough. There's so many nice people that just go there and deal with it. I feel like if I can just have them come into our office and see that they're not going to be waiting 30, 40 minutes, it's more one-on-one experience. And if I can, it's also about pain, right? Pain control for the patient is number one. I just know if a patient comes into our office and especially if they've experienced other bad offices and they experience our office and the comfort that we give them, they'll convert. I just believe that. So, getting the patients into our office is the biggest thing. So that's why Google Ads has been something I'm really focusing on.
And that's what I'm trying to focus on too. So
yeah. And I think marketing, like especially for pseudo startups like us, it's tough, but we have to throw like 10, 15% of our, into it. You have to invest
too.
big.
Well, and there's a quote that I learned earlier this week. They were saying, you got to do a lot of free things to get to where you want to be. So like, so you got to do a lot of free work. You may not like it. Yeah. But, hey, I'm going to do some free work, get your name out there kind of thing. So I don't know, like that made me feel a little bit better. Cause it's like, like some of my fees are already discounted. And then, I'm giving away like a crown here and there for their treatment if they have multiple crowns, and like, hey, you really need this crown, or well, this tooth is at risk for breaking, and if they're already giving me pushback for like doing the crowns and having to pay already, I'm like, hey, you know what, I'll do this crown for you because we're already there, and it's gonna save you an extra appointment. So I've only done it a few times. And they're really appreciative. Oh yeah. But that's hard. That's hard. That's hard, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause it is your value of time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to mention to you is reviews, man. Reviews. I think that's what is also helping me.
Yeah. So you use Podium?
Yeah, but I think Podium helps. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend Podium. I would go, it's too expensive. I would go with Swell. I've heard great things about Swell.
But what makes it different than just me asking my patient, hey, can you leave me a Google review?
Makes it easy. It's just the process. So what we do is a 2-step process. Every patient is asked, because if you don't ask, they don't understand. So we ask them, and then the text goes automatically. And the important part is, the easy part is we send them the link, and when they click it, they basically read your phone or whatever. If you're logged into Google, it'll send you to Google. If you're logged into Yelp, it'll send you to Yelp. Or Yelp doesn't work, actually. It's Google or Facebook. So it's just that fast process, I think, and automated, so that we don't forget. It's like the system. It's just running by itself. That's one thing I do regret though. Podium. I paid too much for it. But yeah, I would have gone with Swell. Swell has a lot friendlier prices, or even my legwork, it emails it out, but it's like more archaic, like Swell is more modern, like the type of text they get like an image and all that stuff. And it's just making it quick for them. It's like 3 clicks, they click that, and then they can write a 5-star review. So making them easy for them to do it.
I just tell my patients, hey, like, go to my Google, send them the link.
Yeah.
And then
has it been working well?
I've been selective of who I ask.
Okay.
My thing is I have a lot of older patients,
Mm-hmm.
so
Do you not ask
uh,
them
I
if they're
don't
old?
really ask them
Uh-huh.
because they're, I don't know. But then the comments that they say, I'm like, man, this could be perfect on a review. So
Yeah.
like last night I was thinking like, hey, like I had like a few patients that I'm gonna ask or say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
can I just get a recording of you saying what you said about
Mm-hmm.
why you chose us, kind of thing, or how do you feel about the treatment?
Yeah.
Because I feel like getting the texting, I mean, is more for like the like people who are really savvy with the phones,
Yeah.
and like who respond more to that. But my patient demographic is a lot older, so I don't know. I haven't given them a chance to, but I
Yeah.
feel like,
I
you
think you
know,
should. My
yeah.
dude, my patient base is really old too. I'm starting to get younger patients now. Like my dad will get the older patients and I get the younger patients. And
Mm-hmm.
just to make it relatable, but older patients fill it out too, man. It's just these days everybody has Google. So when they send them a
Yeah.
good link, and reviews has also been um I think reviews is number one, and then Google Ads number two. Because if they go to Google Ads and the step is they look at the Google Ads, click the thing, and then they'll look it up on the Google reviews.
Right. And they look at your
And yeah, I'm sure. And so you have to have certain amount, like you have to be comparable to the other
yeah.
offices. So
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of my reviews are like, I like I've been selective because like they were willing to write me like a paragraph. So
mm-hmm.
versus just like, hey, 5-star, and
Yeah,
then leave. Like,
yeah.
uh, um, yeah,
Yeah. So you need a good mix of two. Yeah, some people just leave a 5-star, but I'll take those any day. Like I'm like, dude, I don't care. You just if you like us, can you just put a 5-star review for us? Like or like all my staff members are trained to ask, how was your visit? They'll be asked in the back and the front. And when they say, oh, it was good, then they have that would you mind sharing that with everybody? We'll
yeah,
send you a link. Just click it, and it's pretty simple for you to leave a 5-star review. You can leave us a feedback if you want to, and stuff like that. Like that's asking is the most important part.
yeah. You have to ask. I always
Yeah,
ask. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, and
Make them
then
commit.
yeah, for
So
sure, man.
yeah, cool. How can other people find you on? What's the best way to contact you?
Instagram is cool.
Instagram.
I'm on that. I check my messages on there.
Uh huh.
Torculas.dds.
Mm-hmm.
Or my email. You can give them my email too,
Yeah.
darryl.torculas@gmail.com.
Okay.
Um,
Are you on YouTube?
I do have a channel.
I remember you talked about starting one.
But I saw it's funny is like I pulled it back up and I had old videos. So I was like, I
Uh
gotta
huh.
clean it up. Didn't get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have some videos, ready to go and upload. So I should probably just do that. Because I'm thinking about doing like a every other day documentary
Uh
type, or
huh.
just
Yeah.
just vlogging, I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean,
Dude, I wanted to vlog, but dude, it's so much work editing. I'm just like, okay, I can't do it. I have other priorities, so
you may
that's
have
why.
like, yeah, outsource it to someone. Say, hey, I need you to,
Yeah.
I mean, that's an extra cost, but
Yeah.
like if
Editing.
you, yeah, editing and like trying to filter through. So yeah, it does take a while. I mean, we'll
Yeah.
see. Like it's funny because like I'll just walk around with my camera, and
Mm-hmm.
then you're right. Like I'm like, damn, I'm lazy. So I have some camera footage in the
Yeah.
camera,
Yeah.
just not, it just needs to be edited and uploaded. But who
Yeah.
knows?
Cause
Maybe today I'll start today, dude.
yeah, I see you posting videos on Instagram and stuff like that. You have your practice videos and all that. Oh,
Yeah. So
what's your
like,
Instagram for your practice? Share that too.
Collective Smiles.
Collective Smile. So if you're out
Yeah.
in San Diego, need a dentist, hit up Dr. Darryl.
Yep. Yeah. So that's where we're at. Collective Smiles. It's also on my Instagram page. So there's a link on the
Okay.
bio for that.
Okay.
But yeah.
Is it collectivesmiles.com for your website?
No, actually, so this is where it gets a little confusing. It's
Hmm.
actually torculasgds.com is
Okay.
like it's after, so my
Uh-huh.
Instagram and then the website, and
Yeah.
then like, because the collectors so going back to the whole
Hmm.
business thing, like the dentistry, is me, like,
Hmm.
so like I wanted to take responsibility and ownership for that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, I want to go to a good dentist, go see Dr.
Mm-hmm.
T. So
Mm-hmm.
then Google all that, and then the name came after.
Mm-hmm.
So then now it's like, yeah, it's just a little bit confusing, but you just go to torculasdds.com. Then, even though it says Collective Smiles on there, it's, it's on there. Yeah.
Is the domain Collective Smiles taken?
Yes, unfortunately, it
it is?
was. Yeah, so
Damn.
that's why I went to Torculas DDS, because I was like, oh, it
Oh,
has my last name. So Collective Smiles
damn.
was taken, and then a bunch of variations was taken.
Uh-huh.
Like collectivesmiles.com was taken, and I was like,
Is it another dentist?
probably, yeah, another corporate, but it's not here in San Diego. It's just like,
Oh, damn.
the .com was taken, and then there's like collectivesmiles.org, or like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of dot whatever, and I was like, I don't know, like that's not legit to me. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather have a dot, like people like a .com versus like, oh, was it .gov, was it .org,
They have
what was
dental
it?
these days.
Yeah.
Dental.
So I was like, no, like people know .com. So it's just like, I'm just gonna go to like torculasdds.com.
Okay.
So
torculasdds.com. All right. Cool.
yeah, check it out. You guys can schedule your appointments on there.
Yeah.
Send a DM.
How's that been going? Local med? You got local med, right?
Oh,
Is that
so
working well?
local med was on pause for a minute.
Uh-huh.
So I paused that because I wasn't really seeing a
Mm-hmm.
return of investment.
Mm-hmm.
But since I'm canceling Weave, I've pivoted. Now I'm going to keep local med, and then I'm going to have the Google AdWords so that they can schedule to local med. So I'm going to try that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do that before. I didn't
Yeah.
That's learn important. To click. Like, I ran an implant ad, so then the link goes to my implant blog on my website, so they can kind of read that. And then I was reading on this book. It's like, hey, like, one of the things is easy scheduling. So click on your ad. So now I have local med. It's like, okay, if you want to schedule an appointment, they just click on the local med link, and then they can do it there. So I need to try that, and I'll just switch that. So yeah. So I'm going to go back to local med and see if the online scheduling works and if I can get patients through that.
Yeah. Cool.
So.
Yeah, man, I'll send you my Google Ads videos if I can find it, I'll send it to you. Yeah, and everybody can find Dr. Darryl at torculasdds.com, Instagram. What was it again? Dr.Torculas, right?
It's torculas.dds.
Oh, .dds, same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. It was
So, man,
it was
the
fun
Instagram and the
talking to you.
website to say, yeah, man, I appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Stay safe. Hope all is well, man.
Yeah, let's talk again. Let's do a part 2
yeah,
sometime.
for sure, dude.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's fun because I have fun talking to you because you're like basically on the same trajectory in terms of career, you're interested in the stuff like that. So it's always a pleasure talking to you, man.
For sure, man.
And we got to meet up after all this COVID stuff.
Let's do it, man. I'm so down.
Yeah. Get some Korean barbecue or something.
Oh, yep. Get that with a Gen. They got that Gen up there.
Jen.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Jen or Gen, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll get you more legit Korean barbecue. We'll go to LA. We'll get.
Nice. I'm down with that.
All right, man. Thanks for talking to me.
Man. Take it easy, dude.
See you later. Bye.